Hello everyone and welcome to another Sunday live stream. Today we're actually going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be taking a doomsday scenario to my Notion workspace. So what I'm going to be doing is rebuilding, so starting from absolute zero, I'm going to be rebuilding my Notion workspace, not completely because that would take way too long, but get all of the functional databases, all of the dashboards set up so that I can essentially start over again. I will be approaching this from a new Notion user's perspective, so I won't be fast forward, go all the way through with the database and creations. I will be explaining what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and if any of you have any questions along the way, there is a form in the description below, which I can get the questions from. I will try and keep engaged with the chat as much as possible, but if it does get lost, make sure you put your question in the form. If you have any questions that are related, not necessarily just to Notion, but some of the philosophies behind it, then make sure you let me know. Good to see you, Toran. Sanjay, also good to see you. So without any further ado, Roxanne, good to see you. Yeah, without any further ado, what I will do is I will share my screen. If you need me to zoom in, let me know in chat so I can zoom in so you can see everything that's going on. BJ, good to see you. I have got your question in the form, BJ, so I'll answer that in a second. Sana, good to see you. So as you can see on screen, I have a completely brand new workspace. I made this about 5 minutes ago. So I have nothing started, nothing set up. It's everything that you would see if you create a new account. Before I get started, I will answer this question in the form because it was put in early and I can see BJ's in chat already. Henry, good to see you. So Henry asked about Anki cards. So what is the question? Importing Anki cards. We need images in media. The cards are haphazardly written. Is there a workaround for that? I actually don't use Anki at all. I used to use Anki years ago, but now I use flashcards in Notion. So I don't actually know the answer to that. What you are doing is probably what I would do. And I know images, like images into Notion, importing in Notion does have some odd formatting. So what you're doing is probably the best that Notion can do. And unless I make some cards in Anki and then import them, I wouldn't really know where to go. So let's get started. Let's start building. So I haven't seen anyone asking to zoom in. So this is still like what's supposed to be my future company workspace. Fair enough, Torin. Yeah, so we've got loads of pages that Notion have kindly put in, and I'm going to be a bit of a pain and just go and delete them all because I'm not going to use any of them. I will keep the sidebar up for the moment. I personally prefer working not using the sidebar because I like to be able to see as much as possible. I don't know about all of you guys that are in chat. So I'll leave this getting started pages up, and what I'm going to do is go down. How many videos have we got? We've got quite a few videos. Let's delete all of those. And let's delete everything in here. So to give you a bit of cool, good to answer that, BJ. So to answer your questions to start with, there are a couple of different philosophies that you could approach to this. I'll write them down. So PPV, which is August Bradley's philosophy system, how he formats his Notion workspace. GTD, which Kehi goes over quite extensively in some of his work. And then Para. So they are the three main systems that I see out there, or methodologies or philosophies behind organizing your space. And I kind of use bits of everything. And that's how I would approach, if I was you, that's how I would approach starting in Notion. Take bits that you like and ignore bits that you don't like, because some things, I've taken some things from Para, you'll see it in a minute. I've taken some bits from Para, but left some bits out. I've taken bits from GTD, and August Bradley's system mimics, well, our systems mimic quite a lot of each other because they weren't based on something separate. They were sort of Notion specific. So just for those of you that follow me on Twitter, you probably saw me tweet about this. Pants is what I've come up with. The only reason the S is on there is because pant looks boring, so I've put the S on there for spaced repetition. But yeah, if you can come up with a better acronym, that'd be good. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use projects, areas, notes, tasks, and then spaced repetition, which is basically revision. So that's coming from the GTD, the revision, actively revising with your tasks or anything else. Looking at it from a student's perspective, spaced repetition is obviously massively important when you're trying to learn something or regurgitate information for an exam or an assessment. Done plenty of that in my time. Notes, which is where we're going to grab everything. So everything that you'll be clipping, anything that you'll be taking from social media, articles, podcasts, blogs, YouTube videos, that will all go into one database, very similar to Ali Abdul's resonance calendar. Then we've got areas, projects, and tasks. And what we're going to start with is the main dashboard. So I'm going to call this dashboard. I cannot make the typing any quieter, by the way. That's just the keyboard I've got. And I'm going to make this page wide. The main reason I'm making this page wide is because this is what I'm going to see all of the time. Projects, areas, personal education, resources, and okay, paper. That's cool. I like that as well, Torin. Yeah, so the main reason I have it full width is this is where I'm going to basically live. This is my go-to page for when I'm building something, when I'm going into Notion. This is where I want to go. I don't want to have to go to specific pages for different things. I want, similar in a car, I want to be able to look at my dashboard and go, this is all the information I need. So tasks. Tasks is essentially it's the main thing that you need to do. It's what you're going to be doing, and everything will drip down to tasks. So if you've got hierarchy, goals, projects, areas, they will all eventually get to things that you need to do, i.e. actionable things you need to do. So I'm going to create a task database. I've turned that into a page using a shortcut, Control-Shift-9, because I'm on Windows. If you wanted to do that through this, you can go turn into, where is it? I don't use this ever. There we go, turn into page. What I've done is I've turned that word task into a page. So you can see this is a brand new page inside of Dashboard. Dashboard is our main page that I'm going to build from. And this, I could start typing and make it into a page, but what I'm actually going to do is turn it into a database. And I can push any of these. For those of you that use Notion, I understand some of you may get this, but for those that are brand new to Notion, this can get confusing. So I could type in here and create another database in here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to create a database, and that could look like any of these. No matter what button I push, it's going to create a task database. So it'll be a table view of the task database, a board view of the task database, list, gallery, etc. I'm going to create a table view just because it's the one at the top. No specific reason for that at the moment. So if we go back, you can see in my sidebar, we've got the dashboard is the main page, and then we've got tasks. And tasks is a database. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go and create a linked view of this. So for those of you that are new to Notion, what I'm basically doing is I've made a database and I'm copying it, but I'm not copying it as in I've got two versions of it. I'm essentially opening a window. Think of it as a house. I've made the house and I'm going to make a window in so I can see it. So I'm going to go into here. I'm going to use copy link. And now I'm going to, that was Control-V to paste it, and I'm going to create a linked database. So now this is showing me exactly what is in this database. And this arrow is representing that linked view. So this is my window of my task database. Now, because this is on my dashboard, my personal preference is to use a list view. So I'm going to turn this into a list view and then click create. Just trying to read chat as I'm going. Nothing there to action on yet. Cool. Let's delete this view. So what I've done is I've now got a list view of the task database. And if we go back into this version of the task database, so this is the original version, it's still a table. So go back to our dashboard. So we now have this list view. And the first thing that I want to be able to do when I look at my tasks is I want to be able to tick them off and say I've done them, or for them to be there if I haven't done them. So if I go into this first task, you can see we've got properties, and these are the default properties that Notion have put in. Personally, I don't ever use the default properties. I always end up changing them. But these are the ones that Notion give you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this into a checkbox. Nice and simple. So now I have a box that I can tick and untick. And I'm going to label this done. I'm going to get rid of this tags because I don't need it at the moment. I will create numerous properties later on, but for the moment, all I need is the done. So now I have a done tick box in my list view, but you can't see it at the moment. So we're going to go to the three dots, going to go into properties, and there is that property. And at the moment it's toggled off, so you can't see it. And you can do this with every single dashboard view, database view. You can toggle off and on the properties that you have. So I'm going to turn that on, and now you can see we've got the tick box. So now I can tick to see if that task is done, to see if it's not done, etc. I keep tags but delete files. Okay, fair. You'll see later, Torin, why I don't keep tags. But yeah, we'll get to that later on in the stream. Yeah, so we've now got the tick box. So whether we've done, whether we haven't done it. But at the moment, if I tick that task, it's still there. Now, I don't want to see that task out of my preference. I don't want to see it that it's there, because then I'm going to see all of the tasks that I've done and haven't done. And this is where the filter comes in handy. So I'm going to use that three dots again, and I'm going to filter this database. And we have loads of options, but you don't really need any complicated filters for this. I'm just going to add a simple filter. And what this does is it brings up all of the properties. I do like the big tag database that Marie has created. Tag databases are good. They're useful. You'll see later on how I use tags, sort of. But yeah, that's relations, not selects, but we'll get onto that later. So in this filter view, you can see it's come up with this drop-down. And this drop-down is showing you the properties of this database. So if I had more properties, so if those files and tags properties were still here, they would show in this list. But I've got rid of them, so they're not here. So I'm going to filter for done. And I could go is or is not, ticked or is not. So I'm looking for any task that is the done property is not ticked. So you can see that task that we've done is now not showing. And if I tick this box, it's now disappeared. Now, this is actually central to my dashboard, how I use Notion. And it's I think it's the simplest way to say you've done a task or whether you haven't done a task, and it will just disappear. I still use this. I've been using Notion for 2+ years, and I still use this basic functionality, wow, English, functionality to get rid of my tasks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create 2 columns, and I'm going to put this in one of those columns. So you can see I have a text box right here. How can I add a date automatically when the property is checked? So you can't automatically add a date when something happens unless you're using a formula. So that is a specific use case, BJ. And you'd have to use a formula to output that information, but then it wouldn't work in a calendar. So it's going to be very dependent on your use case for that. Yeah, if you want to try and expand on that use case, I can further explain, but you can't have a tick box and then the date be automatically selected. So you can see I've got a text box. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a second text block. So now I've got 2. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create columns. So I'm going to drag it. You can see that's going to basically put it back where it was, but I'm going to drag it across. So now I have 2 columns. You can see we've got the 2 columns right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this database into here. So you can see it's the small blue line or the big blue line. The big one just means I'm moving it below. The small one means I'm moving it into the column. So now I have this task view in this column, which means I can put other things to the right side of it. So we have our task database, our main task database. That's the original version here. And then we have our next task database here. And this is where we're going to tick off all of those tasks. So if we go into that task database, you will see all of those tasks that we've got, that they're all done. So they are still stored. So you still have them archived, but you don't have to see them on your dashboard view. Yeah. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually use a little trick. Is I'm going to duplicate this database, and I'm going to hold the Alt key on my keyboard. I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to drag down. and I'm going to let go of my key, let go of the click, and then what I've now done is I've duplicated it. So what I've done is I've created another link. So for those of you that were here at the beginning, you saw me push copy link. I've essentially done that again, but I've done that here. And what that's done is it's carried over that filter. So it's copied the filtered view, the linked view in here. So I don't have to copy the link, turn it into a list view, make it show the tick box and then filter it because it's already done it for me. But actually in this case, because I've already got this view, I'm going to change it slightly. And I'm going to turn it into a calendar. The reason I'm doing this is because what I've got now is I have essentially a task list. I have a task list up here of things that I need to do. At the moment, I don't have anything to do. I can click the plus button, and now I have a new task. And there it is. What I have here is essentially a calendar, but this is where I can plan out all the tasks that I'm going to do, not going to do anything like that. And I'm going to drag this down so I can see the big blue line. And now I have a calendar view of all of those tasks. This task isn't showing because it doesn't have a date. So if we come into here, see this date property has magically appeared. When I created this calendar view, what it did is it added that date property into that task database. So we go into the original view of the task database, we've got that done property, and now we have the date property. So when we click into here, we can select one date by pushing any of these. And what that will do is that will show on the calendar view. So there is that task that we've just put in, and it's going to show in the calendar view. It's not going to show here because this task is completed. So we can see this task is ticked. And this is our window mirrored view, and it's we don't want it to show because it's not ticked, but this has a date on it. So what we can do now is we can add that same filter into this database. We can say done is not ticked, and now it's disappeared. So now this calendar view is going to give me a month view and a week view to some extent of all the tasks that I need to do and all the tasks that I've done if that's what I choose to see. So you can choose whether you see all of them, some of them. Personally, for me, I only want to see the tasks that I have to do. Now, because these are the same database, I can actually drag this task into this database. So if I drag this task into here, what it's going to do is add this date to this task. So now I have the same task. This task is still here because it's still in the task database. I haven't moved it out of it. What I've done is I've used the filter to add a date onto it. So now when we come to here, I have a date on that task. And when we tick that task off, you can see it in the background here. You see the task in the view. I can click that task, and now it's disappeared. And it will also have disappeared from my list view. Now, this is the majority of my dashboard because what I have here is I have an active to-do list. So any task that I want to do, it's here. And anything that I'm going to plan ahead of time is in here. If I add a task in this calendar view, you can see it's there, and it's also here because it's not done. It hasn't been completed yet, so it's going to show. Now, if I have loads of tasks in here, so let's add in a few tasks as we go along. Now, I've got loads of tasks coming up. Clicking faster than Notion can deal with. Maybe the task needs to ask it. Yeah, I'm just gonna avoid commenting on that one, BJ. But yeah, so now we've got 4 tasks, and they're all showing. But as you can imagine, if you're planning out your week, planning out your month, planning out your year, you're going to have loads and loads of tasks in this task view, and you won't want to see, or I personally don't want to see, all of these tasks at the same time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a filter to this list view. And I'm going to add a date is today. So what it's now showing is the tasks that are today. So if I change this name so you can definitely see, it's now labeled task, and we've got task is in there, and these 3 aren't showing because it's filtering for tasks that are for today. Now, if we have a task for yesterday. Let's just put yesterday in there for the moment. There we go. It's still not showing because it's not today. But if we haven't done a task from yesterday, I still want to see it because I still need to action it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add to this filter. And I'm going to turn this into a group. Is today. And then I'm going to add or. Date is, let's go, is before today. So now what it's doing is looking for, oh, let's bring that filter back up. Now what it's doing, it's looking for tasks that aren't done, so things that I need to do, and it's looking for tasks that are today or before today. So anything that I haven't done that I need to do will show, and anything that's today that I need to do will show. But it's not going to show me everything in the future because I don't want to see all of those things going on. That basically covers the majority of my task database, the task database. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring projects into it. So if we had, oh, not Prance, there we go. So what I'm going to do now is projects. So now we've got that page. I'm going to turn that into another database. So now we have two databases. That's all we've got. We've got two databases. And then we have two filtered views of the task database with a main view. And what I'm going to do is, actually, I'm going to rename the task very quickly because otherwise it's going to, let's go, actually, let's call it pants task. There we go. Just so I don't get confused when I'm linking these together. So what I'm now going to do, so I'm going to rename this very quickly, pants. And I'm going to come into here, and I'm going to use a relation. And what this is doing is making a relation between my task database and my projects database. So it means I can see things in my projects database from my task database, so another window, or vice versa. So I'm going to click on relation. Now I need to find that database, that pants task database, which is here. So you can see we've got these two databases. So I'm going to link the task database to the projects database using the relation. And I'm going to name that so I know where it's going. And that's all we've got at the moment in the project database. I'm going to delete this one. And we're going to go to dashboards. So that is all we've got. We've got our tasks, we've got our projects. Now, if, for example, we have 4 tasks and they're related to a specific project, I personally want to be able to see what project those tasks are related to in my dashboard. Again, I want my dashboard to tell me everything. I don't want to have to go everywhere and try and find what's going on. So what I can now do is I can go back to these properties, and you see this relation property, which we've just created in the projects, has also been created in the tasks. So we go to this main view. This is that relation. So we can go projects. Now, if I click in here, it's not going to show me anything because we don't have anything in the projects database at the moment. And when we go back to our task database, wait, we were just in the task database. There we go. Projects database. You can see we've got that task relation. Click in there, and it's going to show those tasks in that task database. Just checking in chat, checking in form. We're all good so far. So we've now got tasks and projects. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, well, I'm going to show this projects property in this view. Now, it hasn't actually shown anything because they're not related to anything. So if we go project, and we go back to our dashboard, you can see we've got yesterday's task and task. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into yesterday's task. And now we go into this relation, you will be able to see project, because that's what we just added to the projects database. You can see it's linked here. It's linked to the projects database. And this is one of the points in the database. So I'm going to create that relation. And now you can see you've got the project relation in yesterday's task. Now we go back to this dashboard view. We've got the project. So it's showing me the project, and we've got that tick box. Now I want to reorder that because I want to have the tick boxes all to one side. So I'm going to put projects up there. All I've done is I've clicked and dragged and put it to the top. So anything at the top is going to be left side of the list view. So now we have my project showing and my tick box to the right. My project has so many tasks with multiple level of subtasks. Task database, it just got filled so much that it gave me anxiety. Now I just focus on major tasks that I can complete in a day. Yeah. What I actually do, Sonny, is I put subtasks inside the task as tick boxes. So while we're here, what I actually do is I have my subtasks here. So the tasks are the main thing I want to do, and I will have very small subtasks, which typically are 1 to 2 minutes tasks that I need to do. So thinking about David Allen's GTD system, I think he calls them quick wins. I put those as subtasks in here, and then tasks as my main thing to do. From a philosophical standpoint, I don't make my tasks long. So the longer the task is, the more I think, okay, how can I split this up? So if a task is going to take me 7 hours, I'm going to split that up into smaller tasks. So for example, for making a video, I could say record video as one task, but instead screen recording is one task and audio recording is another task. So they're two separate tasks in this database. And then I have subtasks inside of those. And that helps me break up all of the tasks and subtasks. Hopefully that gives you an idea about how I manage all of that. Okay, yeah. So Torrens just said, for those of you watching on the replay, Torrens just said that he agrees. He does the same thing. It looks like you're still using Todoist for reminders. So I don't need reminders for my tasks because everything that I need to do is on my dashboard. So I don't need to be reminded because all I need to remember to do is look at my Notion dashboard, and everything that I need to do is here because of the filters that I've put in. So we've now got projects related to tasks, and I can see the tasks here, and whatever the project is, it's going to show right here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create what I'm calling a tab bar. It's what I use to navigate my space. So you've seen all of the things that I've created so far are in my sidebar. Now I personally use a tab bar, which I'm going to create in a second. And I use icons. So I'm going to use an emoji. Let's use, I don't know. Let's just use something that's here. Let's use the tick for the tasks. And let's use the question mark for the projects. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create what's called a global block, which I will do in a second. But a global block is basically something that you can show in one place and it will change no matter where it's placed. And this text block, so this text block right here, this is what I'm going to use as my global block. Anything can become a global block, but I personally would use a text block because it's the easiest way to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replicate this emoji to represent my task database. So I've used the Windows key and the full stop to bring up my emojis menu. And then I've just searched for the emoji. Let's do a space, and then let's bring up the question. Right, so now I have two emojis in a text block. You are too young to know about work. Too young to know about work. I'm 23. I've done an undergrad. I've finished a postgrad. So I don't know. Age is just one number. It's just one chronological number. Multiple applications, just jumping around tasks, away my energy. Yes, Sonny, I agree. That's why I only use Notion for pretty much everything. That's why I've kept everything together. Do you prefer creating your databases in your dashboard directly as opposed to creating an entirely new page? Is there a reason for it? So Sammy, the reason I'm creating databases like this is just for ease of explanation when I'm going through. In my actual space, I don't create any databases. I have not created a database in my space for a long time. I have the 5 core databases, which you'll see me create in the stream. And that's pretty much it. I don't create any more databases because I don't need to. So yeah, to answer your question, it would depend what you're building, how you would build it, but I don't build any new databases. I have 5. That's it. Everything else is just properties essentially in these databases, which we'll go through as this move forward. Right, so I'm creating my tab bar. There we go. Spit your words out. So we've got the emojis, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to make it bigger. I'm not going to use the keyboard shortcut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this to a heading 3. And I was going to use heading 1 even. I was going to use my keyboard shortcut. There we go, just to make them bigger. That's keyboard Control Shift 1, 2, or 3 for heading 1, 2, or 3. So now I have the start of my tab bar. Just for a little bit of design, I'm going to bring in a full stop in between them. Now, this is where the tab bar is basically used. This is how I use it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to copy the link, same as we did with the linked database. But instead of pasting it in the page, I'm going to highlight the emoji and now paste it on the emoji. What this has done is added a link to the emoji to go to this page. So if we come back, if I highlight this, oh, come on, give me the, it's not going to be nice now, is it? There we go. So you can now see in here, what this has done is copied that HTML, the URL that you'd get in the browser. What it's done is it's copied that and I've put it onto the emoji. So whenever I click on, come on, let me out. There we go. So whenever I click on this emoji, it's going to take me to this database. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the exact same thing here. So I'm going to copy link and I'm going to paste it on here. I will probably change these links later on, but this gives you an idea of what essentially this tab bar is going to be. So I'm going to leave that there for the moment. And now I'm going to create a page just to show you how this is going to work. So now we have a blank page. So we've got a blank page here. We've got our dashboard, and then we have all of the other things that's going on. Now, I don't use the sidebar for numerous different reasons. One of the reasons being all of the pages that you create appear here, and it can get very, very long, very quickly. So in this page, it's a brand new page. And then we have the dashboard, which is here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, actually, I'll bring up my notepad now. You don't have to use a notepad. All you need is to be able to copy the link to the text block. So instead of copying the link to the database, I'm going to copy the link to the text block. So we'll do that into there. And then where's my notepad? My notepad is here. And I'm going to paste it into here. Now we get given this big long spiel of letters and numbers and stuff. This is the address, essentially the online address of that block. And a global block, I think Will Nutt was the person that put the first video up about this, but Ben Smith, I believe, was the original creator. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this. So I've gone from the dash all the way to the hash, and I'm going to backspace that. Now, all the technical stuff behind it, I don't really understand it. I don't care, to be honest. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't care how it works. I just know that it does work. So now I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that. So that was Control C. I'm going to go into this page. And now I'm going to Control V. And then I can now push link to page. And you can see there's the block. So you go back to the dashboard. And we can see these are the pages. These are going to take me to the projects database, the task database, etc. So what I'm basically doing is I'm turning my Notion dashboard into a website. It's not going to be public, but I'm turning it into a website. So I can click on the links on the tab bar like you would in Google Chrome to navigate around the space. So if we go into this page, we have my tab bar here. So if I click on this link, it's going to take me to that page again, which is good, which means it's working. Now, the power of it being a global block, so that copy link stuff, is if I add anything in here, dash to the dash sounds so dodgy. My bad. It's live streaming as well. So I've added hello in this text block. And because it's a global block, which is transclusion, that's the word that I understand. I understand that's getting thrown around. When I go into this page, you can see the iteration of that page block. That block is still the same. So we've now got hello in there, which means wherever I change the tab bar, it will change every single version of it. So I'm now going to get rid of hello because I don't need that in my tab bar. And when we go back to the dashboard, which is another view, it's gone. So now I have a navigation bar that I can copy and paste the link to anywhere in my space, and it's dynamic and will change when and where I want. And I use this as my quick links to get around all over the place. Right. So now we've got a very quick tab bar going. we've got two databases. We've got tasks and projects, and then we've got our to-do list. We've got our planned task list, and then we've got a page. Now, this is where review comes into it. So I have my actionable list, my tasks. That is the, I think he calls it his action database in the PPV system. And then we have the actionable tasks from GTD. What the review system is basically the ability to review either your tasks, your notes, your areas, or anything like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this page into my review page. Nice and simple. And again, I'm going to turn this into a full width page because this is going to be another main page that I'm working on. Now, I don't want to use this breadcrumb to get back to my dashboard. There is a keyboard shortcut you can manipulate and use. So if I use Control-2 at the moment, because this is my second workspace, I can Control-2 and it will go back to the top page in my workspace. But if you have other pages that you want to have favorited or anything like that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this tab bar. So I'm going to go into the dashboard. Now, the dashboard is a page. You can see it's here. And what I want to do, again, is I want to copy the link of this page. So I can come in here and go copy link, or I could come up here and go copy link. Either way works. And what I've done is I've copied the link. So the same link, or not the exact same link, but what I've done is I've copied basically this to my clipboard. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add it. Let's make home. There we go. Nice house. Nice and easy. Highlight it and paste it. Let's get rid of that space. So now we've got a home button. Now I'm going to cut that and just put it to the front. Let's put, oops, some spaces in there. Undo that. Copy. All I'm doing is copy and pasting using keyboard shortcuts because I'm lazy. So that was a lot of Control-C, Control-V, and arrow keys. But essentially what I've done is I copied my link to my home page to the front of my tab bar. So now when I go into my review page, which is here, I've now got my home page, so I can now go back to my main dashboard, which basically means this sidebar is no longer needed because I have everything on this main page. So what I can do is I can hide my sidebar. Now I have more space, which for me is what I want in this view, and it declutters my view as well. So for those of you that I've had a couple of conversations, if you want to be a guest on stream and show what you're doing, there's a link in the description. You can come on and we can talk Notion and nerd out about Notion productivity, anything like that. But a lot of the conversations that I've had with people in Notion is they get distracted by all the stuff that you could do. So they'll come in and they'll be like, I need to do that. And then they'll see other things, whether it's a weather widget and they'll start planning something, or they'll see images about things they want to buy, or they'll see the sidebar and think, oh, I could tweak this, or I could tweak that, and I can add something here. I don't want to see all of that. So I hide the sidebar and I have my navigation here. So I can't see any of that like tempting information. And my dashboard, as you can see, is very minimal in what I can see. It's what I've got to do and if I need to think of anything ahead of time. Now we've got this review page here. Now I don't want it there. I'm just going to move that up here. This is again out of personal preference. And I'm going to make that smaller because I know this tab bar is going to get much, much bigger. The tab bar I currently have in my space, I think, gets to about here because it is my quick links bar because it's going all the way across. And then we have the review page here, which I'm going to add an emoji to. Let's go clock. That'll do. There we go. So now we've got a review page. And again, same principles apply. I can go copy link, come into here, bring the clock up, come into here, paste the link, and now we have a link in our tab bar to the review page, which is right here. Now, obviously, if I click on the link on the review page, it's not going to go anywhere because we're in the review page. But now I have navigation going through those main pages. Drew, good to see you. Glad you could make it. Yeah, so now we've got the tasks, the projects, the review page, and our home page. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drag this task database and plop it into the review page. And I'm going to do the same with the projects because I don't want those there because I don't need them there. We've got the links here. And I don't need the pants explanation of stuff. For those of you that have seen my space before, you'll know I have dividers separating these things. And yeah, you know what? Let's make a couple of dividers. So that is the Notion divider, which is native to Notion. And what I did there was I pushed the dash key. So you can see that's the dash. That's twice, and that is 3 times. And that automatically puts the divider in. And for me, I personally don't like the dash, the line. I mean, I'm struggling with my eyesight at the moment anyway because I've got an infection in my eye. But it's so small, I can't see it. Some of you may like it, but I personally don't. So what I do instead is I use inline math. And I'm going to use Markdown for this to speed this up a little bit. But if you go into the / command and go inline math, really wish the divider was customizable. I agree, Doran. I agree. That's why I had to create inline math dividers, which is a bit of a workaround. So you can see we've got inline math there, and that is what I'm going to be using. And it's really not that complicated, but I know this looks kind of scary. Could you please explain the extra review page beside your global block page again? I will in a second. So, Svaniland. I really need to know how to pronounce that. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is just put dashes in there, and you can see it doesn't look great, and you can customize this however you want. But the main reason I put it in inline math is what you can do is you can add a color. Now, orange is my preferred color, and you can see it gives you a little bit more. Now, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to find something exciting very quickly in here. Where is there going to be something that's exciting to use? Is there like a... No, you can't search in there. Because I know I have a thicker line. Is that thicker? No, it's not. Oh, come on, there's got to be something exciting. Oh, is that? Oh, there we go. That's kind of a circle. There we go. That'll do. Let's use that. I have no idea what that is, but let's use that. Essentially, a really dodgy looking divider. But you can pick anything you want from the emoji menu. And actually, what I'm going to do is, because this is a text block, you could use the shortcuts. So that's now a heading 3, heading 2, heading 1 to make it bigger. And if you really wanted it massive, you could then use the inline math command to make it huge. So now I have a massive divider, but I don't actually want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn into text again. And let's come to here. Copy. I'm going to be really like, yeah. Design isn't my forte, but I just don't like those. I'm gonna have to go back on what I said. I'm gonna have to find something that's not that. Where is the thick line that I used? Oh, is that something? Yeah, we'll use those. That's acceptable. That's an acceptable divider. Just drag all those across. Right. Okay, fine. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. There we go. And what this allows me to do is write, get rid of cap blocks, tasks, and then what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to write notes in there. Get rid of all those because I don't need that. And this is a notes section at the moment. So this is just a load of text blocks. Later on, when I make the notes database, this is where it will go. But at the moment, it's just a load of notes text box. And this divider allows me to go tasks, notes, and I can split this up. And I'm going to use that trick before. So I'm holding the Alt key on my keyboard. I'm clicking, holding, and dragging. Make sure it's the big blue line. Dropping it. There we go. Now coming to here. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Calendar. Get rid of those so it's centered, so it doesn't look really pants. There we go. So now I've got a couple of custom style dividers in my space with the tab bar at the top, divider there, divider here, and then we've got the calendar down. The review page. So what this page is actually doing is it's kind of a second dashboard. So at the moment we've got two tasks, there's two databases in here, and the review page is where I hold my areas database. So what I'm now going to do is create another database, but this one is going to be inline. So we're going to go table, and you can see we've got inline table. So for those of you that are watching on the replay or don't understand Notion, what I've done is I've created a database exactly the same as I did with the task database and the projects database, but this time it's inline, so I can have text and other blocks with it. Excuse me. Areas. There we go. So now we got an areas database, and I use the areas database for all my tagging, and this is where the review page is basically used. So I use review, so all of my flashcards will be in here. All of the areas that I need to review will show in here, and all of the notes that I need to review will also show in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a page in here called task. Wait for Notion to work itself out. There we go. And then project. Work itself out. Have I got a question coming in? Nope. Come on, Notion. There we go. And I'm going to drag this into here. It's going to get very confused now. There we go. And drag this into here. So what the areas database now is it's a database that has databases stored inside of it. So I have a task page in my areas database, and inside that page is my task database. Now I'm going to turn this into inline. So let's make this page a little bit bigger. So we've still got our breadcrumb up here. We're in dashboard. We're in the review page. We're in the areas database, and we're in the task page of that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this database. So this is the task database that we worked on right at the start of the video. Here's that task database. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this into an inline database so I can see everything that's going on. And this will become a dashboard later on. So now we have the areas database here. This is the page, database inception. Very much so. Very much so. So now we have the task page of the areas database. And inside that task page, we have the task database. Okay. And the exact same thing is true for the projects page. So we've got the projects database. I'm going to turn that to inline. So now we have the inline projects database in the projects page of the areas database. Now, the reason I do it like this is because it allows me to add a review to the database. Okay, let me explain that. So if the task database was just a database in itself and it was just a page, there's no way to add an automatic review to the space. So if I wanted to review any tasks, i.e. plan, have a weekly plan, a monthly plan, quarterly plan, or review any of the tasks that I was going to do, I would have to have a task in the task database to review and then go backwards and forwards between the two. Personally, I want that to be automatic. I don't want to have to think about it at all. Okay. So I've put it into a page because I can manipulate the page much, much easier than I can a database page. So I'm going to turn this tag property into a date property. And what this is going to represent is last reviewed. Now I have a last reviewed date. So if, for example, I reviewed tasks last week and I reviewed projects today, those dates are going to be different. So all I need to do is when I know I need to review the tasks or the projects, I can just change that last review date to whenever it is, and then everything else is set for me. Okay. Now I'm going to change this to a number property and call it frequency. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to review different areas. So at the moment, we've only got tasks and projects. But when I was at university, I had each module was a different area. So SE 705, SE 706, SE 707, they were different modules. So there were different areas in my space. And some of them needed to be reviewed every 4 days, every 6 days, 7 days, 12 days. So there was a different frequency on when I wanted to review those areas. So I have a review number to represent when I'm going to review it. Now I need something to tell me when I need to review it or not. If I share a page, I'm looking in chat. If I share a page, then later I update it, will the changes be public? If you share a page publicly or privately, anything that you change to the page will be changed as you do it. So as you're doing it. So my Notion public page, as soon as I go in there and click a space, the space will be replicated to anyone. So when you're actually sharing the page, you're just sharing a link to your page. So there's no way of, well, there isn't a very good way of editing a page without everyone being able to see everything you're editing at the same time. Hopefully that answers your question, Yusuf. So now we're going to actually add in the first formula of this space. So where's the formula? There it is. I should know where the formula is. And we're going to title this review. Oh, didn't want to add one. Let's get rid of that. Delete this. So now we're going to do a formula. So we're going to go. So what we've got is we've got the date. This is the date property. This is the frequency. And these are all the other different formulas that we could use. And because I know what I'm looking for, what I want to do is I want to be able to go date and add this frequency, whatever it is, and see if it's due. So let's go with, I need to remember how I did this now. So what we're looking for, this is live formulas in action, thinking through things. And John, if you're watching, you're probably thinking, oh, great, here we go. So let me think this through. We want this one. And we want date add. If I mess this up first time, it's because I have not done this formula since I made it like 2 years ago. Right, so we want, let's put a space in there. So we want date add. That one. Date add, comma, frequency. Days. Okay. So now we add. Come on, let me in. There we go. 7. There we go. So I'm explaining this formula as I build it. So what this is doing at the moment is it's taking this date and it's adding 7 days to it. So we've got a date add. This is the original date. So looking at the number, which is the frequency, and then adding 7 days. And then I want to see if that is bigger than now. So I'm asking, so now is the date today. So that's dynamic. So as I go forwards, as the day moves forwards, so will that check. So now it's looking for if date is, oh, that should be smaller than, shouldn't it? That should be smaller than. So what it's doing is looking for if the review date, so that date that we had before I added in this check, which was the 6th, I believe. So we get rid of that. Yeah, so the 6th of September. Is the 6th of September smaller than now? So is it smaller than today? Pushing done. And it is, because it is the 6th today. Which means I need to review this space. So I know I need to go into this space and have a look at something. That review process could be a whole, I need to have a look at the whole dashboard, or it could be, I just need to have a look, see if I need to change anything. Sometimes that review process is like 20 seconds. Sometimes it could be, okay, I need to actually do something and I can make a task from that. So now if we go, yes, I've reviewed this space, I can change that to the 6th. And now that tick box is no longer ticked. And what I'm going to do here is we're going to add 10. And if we drag this one back, so if this one was there, you can see I need to review that space. So now I have an automatic review system that's going to remind me, you need to have a look at this space, you need to have a look at this area because you haven't seen it in a while, in however long I've set this date. And this will be ticked until I change that date. So even if I don't review it on the day that it's due to be reviewed, it will still stay ticked so I don't forget it. What this allows me to do is it allows me not to forget any of the areas that I need to think about, any of the areas I want to learn, review, or anything like that. Right. So that is the areas database now created. And the areas database is saved in my review page. So I don't need to create anything in my tab bar for that. So now we have that going on. We have our task database, our projects database. So we look at the pants. We have our projects database, our areas database, our task database. Now we want my notes database. And again, I'm going to make it into my areas database. So I'm going to go notes. Take your time, Notion. There we go. I'm going to open this up. Open this up as a brand new page. We'll make it as a big page, because what I typically do is I actually turn these into dashboards themselves. So we'll come to here. And now I'm going to create a notes database inside this page. So it's the same as creating the task database, the projects database, the areas database, exactly the same process. So now we have the table, and we're going to call this notes. We need to rename this so when we're doing all the relations, I know what I'm doing. And this is the notes database. And I don't really need to add anything to this right now because everything is sorted. Why would you need to review your projects or tasks? That is a good point. So essentially, it's because I use it as a dashboard. So let's delete that, which I'm actually going to go to right now. I'm building this as I go, so I'm trying to remember what my system is and building it as we go. So this notes database, very quickly, I will clip everything into here, and then I will use the things that I'm going to build later on to filter all of this stuff. But for now, I'm going to copy the link to this, copy link, and I'm going to go to my dashboard, and I'm going to paste it in here. So come to there and paste, create link database. Now, I don't like this bar going up, so I turn this into a list view because I don't like the bar. You can keep it as a table view. Let's turn that into a list. Delete that view there. There we go. And now we've got our notes, and I'm not going to do anything with that at the moment. So going back to Henry's question, why would I want to review my tasks and projects? So when I go into tasks, let's bring this up big. Let's make this wide. There we go. And this is the main database. So I'm going to copy link again. For those of you new to Notion, you will be copy link, pasting link databases all over the place. And I'm actually going to create columns. Oh, I haven't made the columns yet, have I? Create the two columns. And what I'm doing is I'm turning this page, so this task page, into a dashboard to have a look at. So we've got that in there. I'm now going to use the Alt key, click, drag, come down and drop. No questions in the form, that's good. So now what I can do is I'm going to filter this, come to here and go done is ticked. So now, for those of you that haven't seen my videos going over my areas database, which is coming out soon, I actually go over this a little bit more into more detail. But what I do is I use this as sort of like a fail safe. So on my dashboard, let's come into here. Oops. Copy that. Drop down, paste, link to page. There we go. So if we come into my home dashboard, for those of you that have just joined or are confused what's happened, I've actually created a global block. So just roll back in the replay and you'll see how I made that. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, tasks. So we've got two tasks here. Now, if I think, oh, I've done the task and I tick it off, And then I realize, actually, no, I haven't done that task and I need that there. Or I just accidentally push it, which happens. I would go to my task database. Now, I don't have a link at the moment for it. So I'm going to go into review. And now what I'm going to do is we've got the task here, which goes to the database, which don't think is going to go to the page because it's going to go to this space, which is not ideal. I'm actually going to change the link to this to the page. So if we come to here, now we go copy link to the page, not the database, and change that link. So that was a Control V, Control C, Control V. Now we're linking to this page. So now when that happens and I tick that task off, whether it was by accident or whether I thought I completed it and I hadn't completed it, I can go into my dashboard of my tasks and then untick it from there, and it disappears from there, and now it will reappear here. So now I've got that task back again. So that's the reason for this one. And then for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another filter. And I'm going to come into here and go, date is tomorrow. So I can see all of the tasks that are going to happen for tomorrow. And again, I'm going to turn these into list views because I do not like that bar at the bottom. Let's delete that, remove. And then we're going to go, ooh, wrong button. I'm going to have to add that filter back in. But we'll go create. Then remove. And then let's add that filter back in. Add. Done. Is done. Good. There we go. We need to add that filter back in. Filter. And this is all like the skeleton setup to, there we go, to set up all the other areas where typically I work. But this is like the skeleton setup, the framework, the bare bones of the system that I use. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this into a calendar. And this is the main reason for having the review in here for this page when I'm reviewing things. So when that review pops up, my process of reviewing this dashboard, firstly, just to have a quick overlook of this and this to see what's going on. But I normally do that daily anyway. But it's mainly to have a look at this calendar view. And this is the only place that I can see all of the tasks that I'm going to be doing, because everywhere else in my space, so YouTube, content marketing, blogging, they're current areas in my space. But when I was at uni studying, all of the modules were different areas and they were filtered for the module. So I could only see the tasks for that module. So looking ahead of time, I was planning everything ahead of time, planning everything weeks ahead. And what I found without having this review was sometimes I was actually planning like 70 different tasks for the same day. And I didn't realize it because I had the calendar view all filtered for their things. So for example, one module, I'd have 10 tasks and I thought I can get those 10 small tasks done. But then in another module, I'd have 5 tasks and I think, oh, I can get those 5 tasks done. Another module, same thing. And then it would come to the day and then the day would suddenly show me like 50, 60 tasks. I'm like, what's just happened? What's just gone on? So this calendar, the review allows me to see a top view of every single thing, every single actionable task that I'm going to do in the calendar view. So when I come into here, if there's 70 tasks on the same day, I know, right, I need to plan that, and then I can actionably go in and change the dates to some of those things. At the moment, I have a system of batching tasks and it's working well, but I still find myself I'll go into the review and think, wow, I have a lot of stuff for that day. So hopefully, Henry, that answers your question as to why I have a review for this space. It's because less of these views, these are more practical, going backwards and forwards, but it's this calendar view of all of my top tasks and having a look so that I don't overload myself, especially when I start adding things on, adding business tasks together, because business are filtered in business area, uni's filtered uni area. And yeah, it can get very confusing when you manage all of your tasks in Notion, which I do. And you will see this theme start to appear in some of the other dashboards that I'm going to create. So this is the projects database at the moment. So I click on here, it's going to go to this database. And again, I don't really want to see the database view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another dashboard that's going to look pretty much the same way, the same thing. And we're going to copy the link to this, going to paste it in here. Create link, come into here, copy that. Oops, didn't want to do that. Come into here, paste, link to page. If you have any other questions about why I'm building the space out the way I am, put it in chat or put it in the form. Just let me know. Or anything about how I'm building, the way I build, philosophies or anything like that. Yes, thank you, Danny. It's very clear. Good, good. I know for me, watching this sort of video or this sort of live stream or engaging, it's like, yeah, I sort of get that, but seeing the whole view right at the top, like I know where it's going. At which frequency would you review it? So my task database at the moment, I think, is 10 days. But previously I reviewed so that's where the frequency came in. Previously, I reviewed my tasks like every 20 days when I was at uni because there wasn't that many tasks going on. As I have more tasks going in, which you'll see later on when I start batching tasks and throwing them in there, I found that because I'm doing more things, it gets filled out much, much quicker. So I'm slowly reducing that frequency. So at the moment, I think it's 10 days. That may go down to 7. But yeah, and it's working with what works for you, because if you're reviewing your tasks like every 4 days, I just find myself like reviewing over and over and over again, which I don't want to do, which is why I had that review frequency, because another side effect of just having no frequency was that I was reviewing everything at once, and it was just like this big review session. I had to sit down for like 3 hours and review all of the areas, and it was just not fun. And for me, if something isn't fun, I'm not going to do it. So I changed up the frequency, and now it's staggered. It's asymmetrical. But yeah, so I review it 10 days now, I think. I should probably be building this while I'm talking. Yeah, so I now review multitasking. I'm not great at that. Yeah, so now 10 days, but it's a personal preference thing. Yeah, and then like with projects, I review much more frequently, but I don't necessarily wait for the tick. So sometimes I'll go into my projects database and I may have reviewed it like 2 days ago. So it's more of a reminder for if I do happen to forget to review things, because if you have a busy week and you just don't look at it, okay, good. Yeah, if you've got a busy week and then you just don't look at things, that's when I found I was getting myself into trouble. If, for example, like last week, because my eye was going to hospital loads and I was doing loads of different things, and I completely forgot to look at my projects database, my projects dashboard. And normally I'd look at it every couple of days to make sure I'm on task, I'm not falling behind or anything. Because I was so busy, having that reminder, I was like, oh yeah, I haven't looked at that in a while. And then I realized actually I was behind on a couple of tasks, and my dissertation was due in 2 weeks, and I was like, oh, I should probably do something. Yeah. So we've now got the exact same dashboard, and what we're actually going to do is going to move that there. You're going to go turn into list view, create, get rid of that. And what should we build next? Like I say, guys, I am building this from my mind, obviously, but it's like, that's not what I want. I'm just building this from memory of my space, and I don't want to go back to my space, because then I feel like I'm cheating. Then I feel like I'm cheating, and I'm not doing a true doomsday scenario of I've lost everything on Notion. How would I do this? Right, so we've now got projects, we've now got tasks. They are all sorted. We've now got the areas database in there, and we now have the notes database in there. That is good. So that is the fundamentals in there. So what I'm now going to do is I'm actually going to create a template in the database. And the main reason I'm creating a template is, like I say, most of my dashboards look exactly the same. I have found a way that works for me, and everyone works slightly differently. So this is going to be a new area template. Notes. I'm typing faster than Notion can deal with. Nope, it's just slow. Come on. Come on, Notion. There we go. Oh, I misspelled templates. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a template in the areas database so that whenever I have a new area, that's a new area of study, new area of research, new area of business, anything like that, anything that I define as an area, which for me is something that's ongoing. A project has an end date, a task has an end date, an area doesn't have an end date. So I'm actually going to create this as a template. So when I go and build numerous different things, I can just come into here and it's all sort of set up for me. So we have that notes database, which is the first one I'm going to link to. So I'm going to go linked, create linked database. So what I'm doing is I'm creating another one of those windows to this database. Pants notes, there we go. And now we've got this notes database. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter for this area. But in order to do that, I need to relate the notes database to the area database. And this is where the properties start filling out on these databases to allow for all of the automated filters for templates to work. So we're going to go in, we're going to add our first property to the notes database, and we're going to relate it to areas. Oop, didn't need two S's. There we go. Create the relation. Whoops. Come into here. Areas. So you can see it's now popped up into our notes database, which is here. So I'm going to turn that, and you can see it's told what it is. Notes is there. So this is now relating to notes, and this is now relating to areas. And what this allows me to do is use one of the newer features that Notion put out and add a self-referencing filter, which I use all over the place. So I'm going to use this area relation that we've literally just created, contains, and what I'm going to do is select new area template. And what this means is whenever you create a new area, it is going to automatically filter to the new area that you have created. Okay, so I'm going to go back into here just to show you how this works. So currently we have, oops, I didn't want that one, I wanted this one. So currently we have three areas. We've got tasks, projects, and notes. Now, if I come into here and we're going to add a new area, okay, let's actually just put new. There we go. Go into open, and we're now going to use the template. You can see here it is. It's the new area template. That's literally what we were just working on. So we've got new, and it's loading. It's thinking about it. Thinking. There we go. And what this has done is because of that filter that we had, it was filtered for the template page. So the page that we created, that's what it was filtered for. But because we've just added this in, so this is a new area, it's now filtering. Oh, that was many. It's now filtering for new. And when I change this, it's going to stay filtering for this. Anything, new page. Excuse me. So you can see it's this page, which means whenever you relate anything in the notes database to this new area, it will show up here. And the reason that's important is because when we come back to our dashboard, that is how I filter my notes. So you can see all of these are brand new notes. They are untitled. There is absolutely nothing in them, but we have this area. Okay, so we say new note. Oh, Notion really does not like me typing. I'm going to try and limit my typing. So you've got new note. And this new note could be something I've clipped from YouTube, from a podcast, from an article, a blog, or something I've created and just dragged into there. And this note, how I tag it, so this relates to something that someone said right at the beginning of the stream about a tags database. I don't have a tags database because I tag them using areas. So let's take this note as what areas do we, so the new area that we created. Let's go back to our areas database. Let's say this is Notion, because we are doing a Notion stream. I said I was going to do minimal typing, and then I go and type. So say this note is, let's say it is, for those of you that haven't seen it, Marie did another like Notion tour on Keep Productive. So we'll do Marie tour video. And I'm typing again. Come on, Notion. Notion normally isn't this slow. It's probably because I'm streaming and I have a few tabs up. There we go, Marie tour. So this is, for example, a note, Marie tour, and what I've done is I've clipped it. Imagine I've clipped it, because obviously I can't do it now. I've clipped it, and you've got the URL and you've got the video embedded here. This is the note, and this will show in my dashboard because I've just clipped it, and it will go there. That's where it will sit, and that is where it will sit until I've reviewed it. What I can now do is come into here and filter, add filter, use the area and say is not empty. Oops. Is empty even. There we go. So now all of these don't have an area. Yep, I saw it. I'm gonna borrow her learning dashboard. I did see your comment in the comment section, Torin. But yeah, so now we have a filter for the tags, essentially. So what I can now do is say, okay, Marie tour video. This is Notion related. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come into here, and I can now relate this to Notion. So I'm gonna push Notion. That is the area. Now we have area, it's related to Notion. So what I've done is I've tagged this note to Notion. So now you can see it's outside of my dashboard. So I've sorted it. It's out of my dashboard. I don't need to think about it. Then when I go into that area, we don't have a tab bar link for it yet. So what we will do is we will go, there's no Notion emoji. What comes up? Oh, note. Actually, we're going to use, let's use a music note because it's the one that came up and it's going to be quick. We'll copy link, paste that in there. So now we've got a link to the Notion dashboard. You can see the notes already linked, and here it is showing in this space. So every single time I tag a note with an area, it shows up in the area that it's needed in, which is where the self-referencing filter comes in for this template. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense or anyone's got confused, let me know and I will try and explain it in a different way. Right, so now we've got the notes database in here. What I'm actually going to do is change it very slightly. I'm going to use columns again because I want to see everything as quickly as I can. We're going to drag this up here. We will go into here. Oh, no, we don't want to go into there because we've already got the filters in there. We want to turn this into a list view, go create, and then we're going to get rid of that and delete that. Now we've still got a scratchpad area for all the planning and things like that. Now what I want to do is we've got our notes database in there. I want to have the tasks and the projects in there as well. So I'm going to go linked database. We've got projects and we've got tasks. So I put projects first, but you can put tasks first. It's up to you. And I'm going to view this in a calendar view, which is here. We're going to come into here. We're going to delete this. Is an area like a class. When you talking university, I know, I'm guessing you're from America or somewhere like that because so in my head, I have a topic. So biology would be the topic or anatomy and physiology would be the topic. And then we'd have like modules inside that and then lectures inside that. So an area would be I think it's a class. I think that's what you call a class. Basically, if you turn up to something and then you leave, like that for me is a lecture. That would be a task. If it's an assignment, that would be a university project. If it's like an area of study, like biology, for example, that would be an area because there's no like finish time to it. It's just something that you're doing. The assessments have end dates, which are projects, and the lectures have end dates because that's where you've got to turn up. So if they've got an end date, it's either a task or a project. If it doesn't have an end date, it's an area. I think that's the cleanest way I can explain it. So you can tag a task or a project to the area because that will be ongoing. Then if the area becomes like you finish the area or it's evolved or changed into something else, you can then change the name of the area, which is what happened with my university studies. So the areas that I had related to my studies, anatomy, physiology, pedagogy, and the rest of those, they kind of like changed. Oh, okay, got it. Subjects, example, would be an area. Yes, yeah. So subjects as an area, because that way, essentially, you'd have one of these dashboards. So one of these dashboards would be, let's delete this. One of these dashboards would be your area. So if this was, this is a template, but if this was biology, you'd see all of your notes from your lectures that are related to biology here. You would then see all of your projects, which would be your assignments here. And then because we're now going to put in tasks, we'll go linked and bring in the task. Yep, that's the right one. And then we've got the task in here. Then we're going to go calendar in here. And then we delete this. So now we've got all the tasks in here. And what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to use that same filter that we used in the notes database. So I'm going to come into here, I'm going to go filter, add filter. Then, so this is me getting ahead of myself. So at the moment, we've got name, date, and tasks. So the task database, the main task database is not related to areas. So areas, again, is like the tagging system. So instead of having like a load of pages for different tags, like Marie has in her tag database, I have areas. So every area is a tag. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a random page just so I can get into the database without creating another view, because that's not fun. Add a property, and we're going to come over here. I'm going to name this area, create the relation. And for those of you that are new to Notion, whatever I change in this version of the task database changes absolutely everywhere. So I only need to do this once. So we're going to relate this to areas, create relation, and come out of there. And now when we come into filters, the property is going to be available. There is areas, and we are going to use the new area template. And the reason we're using this is the self-referencing template, the self-referencing filter. So whenever you create a new area, all of the filters are set up for you, so you don't have to constantly like redo the filters, redo everything. It's done for you. So yep, so we've got that. So contains area, contains new area. Good, that is that one sorted. And I imagine the task is going to be exactly the same because we're not going to have areas linked. It's not. So we're going to go add property, turn relation, area, add, select, areas, create relation. And there we go. And if we come in here, we're going to filter, add filter, areas, contains. There we go. So all of those tasks have disappeared because they're not related to this area, right? Now, if we create a task in this area, it's automatically added the new area template because we're in the new area template. When we're in our dashboard, it will add the appropriate area to it. So let's delete that because I don't want a random task related to a template. So this is the structure, the exact same structure I use on all of my dashboards. So I have my notes. So all the notes from the lectures, all the notes like ideas, anything that I've clipped, all of those sort of things will be in this space. And as long as it's tagged appropriately, it will be there. Then I've got all my projects are tagged for this area, task tagged for this area. So who was it? Henry. Yeah, Henry asked. So like with the task, this is where you can sort of see where it can get a little bit like overwhelming because all of my areas are like this. So if I see this in 4 areas, I'll be like, oh, I've got nothing to do. But there might be one area that I just didn't look at, for example, that's got 30 tasks on it. So it keeps me accountable for all of the things that I'm doing. Right. So that is the template. Let's go to review. So that is the template. Now, this is the areas database that we've got on the review page, and you can see these are the 2 relations that we've just made. So it works both ways. So I named the relation on the other end. So yeah, I named the relation on the task database, areas, and the projects database, areas. Now I'm going to rename this to projects, and I'm going to rename this to tasks. Now in this review page, I really don't need to know what notes, projects, tasks are related to the areas, because that's not what I need this page for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into properties, and I'm going to deselect these because I don't need to see them. And I also don't need to see the frequency in this page because I don't need to see it unless I'm going to change it. So I will go into the page, I'll click on here, and then I'll see the property up here, and then I can change the frequency from there. So this is again another way to clean up my space. So I'm going to drag that there, good. If we come down here, let's create a couple of columns. Drag that one up there. And let's just do links. And then we're going to go to notes in here. So now we've got the reviewing notes, and you can review the notes any way you want. So when you start adding in different notes, you could filter this for notes created, date created. You could add a review property, anything like that. For me, that changes depending on what's going on. So I'm just going to sort of leave this one here to give you an idea of what this looks like for me. But yeah, so now we've got some areas started to form. So now we go back into our Notion space. We've only got this notes in here. So I'm actually going to delete this database. So I have access to this new area template. And I'm actually going to very quickly just add an emoji to this, so I know what's going on. There we go, new. There we go. So we can now got new in there. Good. So we go open, go into the template that we've just created, and we can open the page full. And there we go. So now we've got our notes. We've got our blank space for our scratchpad, planning, whatever. We've got our projects, and then we've got our tasks. And these are related to Notion, which is the area that we're in because of the self-referencing filter that we have related to Notion. And this is not related to Notion. Why isn't it related to Notion? That must be in the template. I must have forgotten to do that one. So we'll go back into, with my module website opening in a few weeks, this will be my main focus when designing my new Notion setup. Right, where was I going? I was going into here, wasn't I? And I'm going to edit. Let's make this a full page so I can actually see it. See, making it on the fly, making mistakes, and I will probably make a couple more as I keep building this. So filter, 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 name, areas, added, new. See, there's the area that we just made. I don't want that because I want this to apply to everything because we're changing that template. Right. Now let's go back to review. Let's go back into Notion. Make that a full page. That was Control-Enter, keyboard shortcut. And let's just delete this to actually give you a full example. There we go. So now I'm going to go into new template, and now it should work. Come on. Here we go. Projects, tasks, notes. There we go. So now it's only filtering for that Notion specific note. All good. Right, there we go. So now we've got the dashboard for the areas set up. So now we have a template for the areas dashboard. So now what we're going to do is we're going to let's pick a topic. Has anyone come up with a biology? Let's go biology because that's the one I see from Ben. So we're going to go biology. And waiting for Notion to wake up a bit. There we go. Open. Control new, and going to add in this template. Right, so now we've got biology as an area. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend we have an assignment. We have an assignment due for this day. This is an assignment. Assignment. Come on, there we go. Oh, apparently I can't spell. Okay, so we've got an assignment. Now, for me, when I was doing assignments, there were typical things that I would do over and over and over again. So with my YouTube videos and blogs, I have repeated tasks. And with assignments, I did the exact same thing. But in here, I don't have anything. So what I want to do is I want to create a template inside of my projects database. So I'm going to come up here. You see, we don't have any templates in this database yet. This might be there is no poor questions. But is there a way to combine multiple databases into one calendar? For example, on your area template, you have multiple calendars. Can you make it one? So in my areas dashboard, the reason I have two calendars is because they're two different databases. The calendar is a database. So essentially you're asking, can you combine two databases? Yes, you can. You could have tasks and projects in the same database, but that does become very clunky. There are a lot of properties together as well. So I personally wouldn't advise it, but you can do it. The reason I go with just the two calendars, the projects and tasks, is I actually show my projects and tasks together. And some of the other things that I'm going to do later on with the projects, you would struggle to do if it's all one. So you could do that. But again, I only need to see one calendar, which is my task calendar on my dashboard. So all of the tasks, so the actionable things I need to do, i.e. the lectures that I need to turn up to, the tasks that we're going to go through in a second for assignments, all of those will appear here. So I don't really need to go into those area dashboards unless I need to specifically focus on something or I'm planning something ahead of time, because everything is going to be here. Everything is going to show here. So everything's only going to be shown in this one calendar because it's all I need. So I wouldn't combine the two because I only need this one. Hopefully that answers your question, or it explains it a little bit further. Where were we? We were in biology and we were making an assignment project. Yes, so we've got projects in here and we were making a template, weren't we? So I'm going to go into here. Let's call it essay because it's easier to spell. Okay, and parts of projects would really be tasks. Yes. So what I'm doing, Ben, is this new essay. Every essay is going to have a similar structure. So when I was writing essays, you had introduction. I haven't written an essay in so long. I've been writing my dissertation. Well, you get introduction, or I'm just going to go with the dissertation because that's what's on my head. Introduction, some sort of lit review, some sort of let's go introduction, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Like they would be tasks that you're constantly doing, and that's what I'm going to do here. So this is a new essay. So every time you have a new essay, you need an introduction, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. And they will be tasks that appear in your task database. I like this type of reviewing personalized dashboards a lot. Instead of reviewing databases with different views, I will adopt this. Cool. It's good. Yeah, I try and make different dashboards for different places, but the main dashboard is where everything goes. It's just if I want to see small views, that's where I go to the area dashboard. So yeah, because like my high view, everything I need to see, my main dashboard. If I want to go in small depth, that's where I go to the area dashboards. I'm still really fuzzy on self-referencing, but I keep watching videos on it inch by inch, bit by bit towards actually understanding. they do take time to like get your head around, Gray. And I will be using, I use them a lot. So if you have any specific questions about it, oh wow, that's awesome. Getting it now. Cool. Like I said, Ben, like at the beginning, like building out the skeleton structure, and I know where it's going. And it's really hard to explain sort of like 20 steps ahead. But yeah, so everything will be on that front page that you need. So it is kind of one calendar. Yeah, right. So let's get building this. I'm still trying to get my head around roll-ups and formulas. Formulas you'll never get your head around because there's always something you can add, always something you can change. Right, so we are in the projects database, and I'm going to link the task database inside the projects database. Let's come into here. There's tasks. And let's go to list again, because I'm just not a fan of the table view since they made the update and the silly bar goes across. I don't know about the rest of you, but that's just my preference. Right, let's make this a little bit bigger so you can see what's going on. And again, we're going to turn this into a full width page. Right. So now we're in the projects database. We're in the template, one template of the projects database, which is called new essay. And we have the task database in it. So these are all of the tasks. And obviously, we don't want to see all of the tasks. So Gray, we're going to use the self-referencing filter again. So we have the task database, and we're in a template. The self-referencing filter is going to reference new essay. So I'm going to add filter, add property, and what we're going to do is, instead of using areas like the last time, we're going to use projects, because we're in the projects database. We're filtering all of these tasks, filtering for this project. Contains new essay, which is the task, which is the project. The new essay is the project template inside the projects database. So it's one page inside the projects database. That's what we're relating it to. I could relate it to assignment and project because they are other pages, but this is the one we want. The reason we want the template is because whenever the template is duplicated, that new name, whatever the new name is, so at the moment it's new essay. If it's essay 1, the self-referencing filter will filter for essay 1. If it's essay 2, it will filter for essay 2. If we put this as assignment, every time we have a new template, it will always reference assignment, that project, not the new project you've just made. Hopefully that makes sense. In the US, a class is pretty... I'm not going to try and say that. I know what the word means, but yeah. To lectures, a subject of biology would have several courses, 101, 201, and each course would have classes with assignments. Okay, yeah, so a class is a lecture, a subject, yeah, okay. And then a module is, okay, cool. I got my head around it. Thank you, Gray, for that clarification. Yeah, so we've got projects contains new essay. So now, any project that shows up here, any task that shows up here will be related to this project. So before I go on to this next bit, I'm going to explain how that works and show you in some examples. Oops, clicking too much. Oh, wow. See, I haven't had to build this for so long. I forget how to navigate around things. Right, so where do we want to go? We want to go... Yeah, we're going to biology. And we had that assignment. So we made the assignment page, which is here. And you can see it's assignment. And that template, remember the template was filtered for new essay. It wasn't filtered for assignment. It was filtered for new essay. So I'm going to add the new essay template. So that's where the filter is going to at the moment. And it's now going to dump in that task database. So this is the task database. But now when we go into the filter, it's filtering for assignment. So it's filtering for the name of this project. Okay? Hopefully that's made a bit of a connection for you. So now when I add any tasks in here, it will always be related to this assignment. So when I add a task, let's say research, because research in essays is really important, really boring, but well, boring depending on what topic you're researching for. Come on, Notion, there we go. So now we have that task, and that task is related to the assignment. So it's showing up here. You can see there's research for this assignment. And who was it? Ben. So Ben, this is where the first dashboard comes in handy. So I can see, there we go. Where's the task? There we go, tasks. It's because it's not, yeah, I'll go through that in a second. So I can see this project has one task. I can come into here and I can see that we've got that task there. It's related there and it's in there. And when I go back to my dashboard, oh, that's not showing because it's the date. So let's put the date of the, yeah, let's move the, so this is where, because the task is so far ahead, I don't actually need to do it. So we're going to actually move that task back. So we do need to do it, so it does show. Me being so planned, right? So let's say that this task, I don't think it's got a date on it either, actually, thinking about it. No, it doesn't. So let's say this task, we're going to do this task yesterday. There we go. Boop. Go to home. There we go. So now you can see, if I had planned, I don't know much about biology. I did anatomy and physiology in my master's degrees in strength and conditioning. So I have a sort of understanding about the body, but all the enzymes and the rest of it, yeah, no. Yeah, so now you can see this task, it was yesterday, but I haven't done it yet, which is why it's showing. And I can see the project. So I can see in this view, in this dashboard view, this very first view, I can see I need to do this task. I need to research this assignment. Okay, so I can see from this dashboard view what and where to go. If I want to get to this assignment, because it's a relation, I can click on the task. I can click into here, click the assignment, and now we're in that assignment page. Okay, so I haven't had to go through the sidebar, go through any of the links. It's there on my page, and I can see all the tasks that I need to do, and everything's related, everything's linked. Now, when I tick this task off, it's going to disappear. There we go. But it's still there in my assignment. So if we come back into biology, you know what? Because I'm coming into biology quite a lot, let's make that into a link. Human body. Okay, that really doesn't help. Let's put the nose for biology. Why not? Because, yeah. Paste. So now we've got biology as part of our tab bar. So obscure. Oh, we haven't got the tab bar in here, but yeah. So now we're in biology. We go to assessment. And you still see the task is there. Right, so now we have those sort of all linked up. And what I'm now going to do is going to go back into the template in the projects database. And this is where the templates can get a little bit sort of like Inception-like, confusing, but very, very powerful. So let's come into here, drop down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make preset tasks. So I know I'm going to research every essay. I know I have chapter 1. Where am I? Come on, Notion. 2, chapter 3. Let's go. Conclusion. Conclusion. Right. Let's drag these across just for aesthetics' sake. And what I'm doing is I'm creating basically tasks that I'm always going to do. So I'm always, whenever I have an essay, I'm always going to research, do chapter 1, do chapter 2, do chapter 3, chapter 4, or conclusion or whatever. And you can make these tasks whatever they are. You can make as many as you want, as few as you want. It really doesn't matter. So now I have these tasks done. Now, what I like to do is put an emoji on them so I know what area they're related to. So for this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn them into a page. Come to here and let's put a hat on them. So I know that it's related. Well, it's associated because it's not actually like Notion related. It's associated to research. So now I have these tasks. Okay. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to go back to, let's come back into here. Let's go biology. Now I'm going to go to the assignment. So I'm going to use this as like a dummy page. And I'm going to get rid of this. And go new essay. And now it's going to dump in that new template that we've just made. Open page. When you say second brain, do you mean in the way Tiago Forte means it? I thought it was about captures things that resonate with you. You seem to be building task, projects, subjects, database. Yes. So second brain is capturing, but from what Tiago talks about, it's not just capturing and then that's it and leaving it. It's about doing something with it. So from a second brain's perspective, capturing things is great, but it's what do you do afterwards? So it's the notes aspect. So the second brain aspect of my space is notes and relating it to all of the tasks and projects afterwards. And I can't build my notes database without having the tasks and projects set up first. So with when it comes to the capturing the things and everything else, I will capture something and then I will sort it and then I will build something from it using a project, using a task, make it into something. So I have some sort of knowledge management basis to the stuff rather than having what Ali Abdul has, or had, I don't know if he still does, a resonance calendar basically with tons and tons of stuff that he doesn't really know what to do with. And he said it in a video. He just finds it like an endless like pit of stuff. And building out the tasks and projects now allows note-taking later on to make more sense. Hopefully that answers your question, Thea, and I will get to the note-taking, but this has sort of got to be set up first for the note-taking to work. Otherwise, I'd be building back on myself. Right, so we've got these preset tasks. This task is still here, but it is completed. And what I can now do is I can drag these pages, drag them down into here. And what this has done, there they are, is it's related all of those tasks to this project. And all of these tasks are now related to this project and will show appropriately. What I'm actually going to do is, because I've just realized I don't have a filter for, I think all no longer use is, Ali no longer use. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, that makes sense. A bit more sense. My second brain is just a database with some basic properties where I copy things that resonate with me and put it. Yeah. I understand that with that theory. Like capturing stuff is so easy. It's what do you do with it afterwards? Like it's like, so what? Like capturing things is so easy. And I know Ali, I think, has changed his space. Torin obviously has just said that he's changed it as well. But yeah, right, where was I? Oh yeah. So I'm going to come into here. I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to add a filter to this. So it's going to add a date on it. So it's going to appear in the calendars. Date is, I'm going to add today. So it's always going to work. There we go. Come out of there. So going to assignments. Let's go into the assignment. There we go. Now let's delete that so you can see what comes up. So we've got loads of tasks that related to this one assignment. We will get rid of them eventually. So I'm going to add that new template. Here we go. I can then go in there. I can then come in here. I can click, drag, drop, plop. All related, got a date, good. The reason I added that date bit is because now when I come down, filter for areas, but there we go. There's another filter I need to add on. I wish I had planned this out further in advance. So let's come in here. Let's add another filter. And so project contains that. Yep. Area, like I say, I haven't built this for so long. And we want to relate this to, because this is in, yeah. Can I relate that to that? That's a good question. This is, yeah. So what I want to do is biology. Biology. There we go. So now I'll come out of here. Come on. Come into here, edit. Now, because it's filtered for biology, I'm going to come into here, new essay, new biology. I have a YouTube template, a blogging template, content marketing template. They're all slightly different because of the filters. Whew, come on, Notion. Biology essay, cool. And there we go. Right, third time lucky. Those of you watching on the replay, I'd just be like, skip to that bit. Skip to that bit where you did it right first time. make it look like I know what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. Third time lucky. We're going to have so many tasks linked here. Come into here. Come down. Add. There we go. Now it's got a date. Now it's related to the right essay. And now it's showing. There we go. Cool. So now I'm showing all of these tasks. We can see what's going on with the dashboard. Have a look. There we go. Woo! All the tasks going on. Right. So now we've got all these tasks. I'm just going to say I've done them all So that's the process of building a template that allows me to get all of the tasks done very, very quickly that are repeated. So now whenever I have a biology essay, I can go into biology. So this is basically from scratch. I can go into biology. I can say, I have new essay. Click on the template. And for those of you in business or anything like that, this is really useful as like if you've got a project and you have repeated things going on, or emails and things you need to do, or a newsletter or anything like that, having these as just preset tasks makes life so much easier, and you can apply it in so many different ways. Right, so there's that. That's down there. There's all the tasks done. So we're good here. And what I'm going to do, because I've just realized, is I'm going to filter this for done is not ticked. There we go. Now, looking at this view, I also want to see the projects the tasks are related to. So I'm going to go into properties. I'm going to projects. I'm going to tick that on. So now I can see these tasks are related to these projects. And what this means is I can plan out this whole project from here. So I want to do research first. Let's do conclusion then. Chapter 3 then. Chapter 2 then. And chapter 1 then. So this is essentially me planning out my week for this essay. You can see this is the essay. It's due in on that Sunday. These are all the tasks. And on my dashboard, what it's going to do is it's going to show me the one task that I need to do. This is the one task I actually need to do, but there's all the other tasks, and that's not showing here because I don't need to see them all here. But they are showing up down here. If you want them to show up here, you can. Personally, I don't have them filtered down here because I use this as an event calendar, which I'll go over in a second. But what we can do is we go into here, we can go into the project, and now we can see all of those tasks are related to the right place, all showing in the right place, and everything's set. So that is the project template, and you can duplicate that many times and use the same structure over and over and over again for different projects, different essays. I'm not going to do that because I've just done that process. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to very quickly do the events because that's on top of my mind while I'm at it. So I plan out my events here. So if I have an event such as this live stream, for example, if I have a live stream next week, I will go live stream. So this could be lectures, or this could be a meeting. This could be anything where you need to go and do something. That is what I put on my calendar down here. And what I do is I add a very simple select property. Tag. And in here I go event. Okay. So now this is an event tag. And what this means I can do is I can come in here, I can filter and go tag is event. So for me, I don't want to see every single task that I've done, every single task that I'm planning all in this data, all in this calendar view, because it's going to be way overwhelming, especially like looking at my calendar now. I have like 10, 15 tasks a day, and this would just get massive and it would go down. So this is what I use instead of Google Calendar, and it's filtered for events. So this is a task filtered for an event. So let's go into here and just add a task as an example. Let's go into biology as a lecture. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a task into biology. Let's say we have, and let's do it for today because then it will show up. We've got a lecture. Waiting for it to load. We're going to add event in. And what this means is we've made a task. It's not related to a project. So there's no assignment assigned to this lecture. It's assigned to a biology, a subject, a class. So we come out of there and we go back to the dashboard. and we go down to the bottom. Oh, we were already in the dashboard, weren't we? There's the lecture. It's already showing. And it's also going to show here. So it's also going to show my task list, which is where I'm going to add properties. I'm going to add that tag so I can see that it's an event. So I know I need to do something. Again, I'm going to drag this to the top. So we've got the events there. Something that I personally do that you might want to do is in my task database, I'll have a template. That sounds like a good idea rather than creating a separate calendar database. Like, exactly, like that. So for me, like a task, again, a task has an end date. So like the date I'm doing it is essentially the end date, the due date. I think, yeah, that's an August Bradley thing. I think a due date. So I have a due date for my events, and my events are just tasks. They are tasks that have an event tag on them. So if we go, ooh, I missed the N there, but I don't know if I messed up something else. Yeah, I just missed the N. Events template. So I'm creating a template in the task database, and I'm going to add a tag when Notion catches up with me. Call that event. And now we've got an event template. So if I do need to just quickly create an event from here, so if I'm planning a meeting or a lecture suddenly pops up, I can come into here and go, okay, let's go in here. And I can push the event template, or because it's already filtered, it's already put in, I push the event template, and then everything's set. So there is that. I'm going to delete that for the moment. So now we've got the events all sorted. We've got the tasks sorted. We've got the projects template sorted. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to say I've actually done that event, and I've done that project, I've done that, and I've done that. All good. So let's go back to our review area. And we go into, yeah, let's go into biology, and we'll do it this way. So we've got all of these tasks. I don't really want all of these tasks, but we're going to keep the task there anyway. And what I want to do in my projects, so in my assignment, this, in the new essay, we'll use the new essay. So in the new essay, I want to be able to see my progress. I want to see how far along I've done with the project. So this assignment has all of these tasks related to it. So this assignment, this essay is a project. And what I want to do is I want to see how many tasks I've done, how many tasks I need to do. So this is where the roll up comes in handy. So we're going to go done. I want to see how many tasks I've done. These are all the tasks related to this project. So I'm going to use the relation. I'm going to use the task relation. So now it's just going to show me all of the tasks, and I don't want to see all of the tasks. And I'm going to use that done tick box. So you can see I've done one of all of these 5. So the research I've done, I've ticked that one off, but I haven't done the chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and conclusion. I haven't done them. Now what I want it to do is I want it to show it to me as a number. So I'm going to go checked. So now it's showing a 1 because I've done one of those 5 tasks. So now I've got done is 1 because I've done one task. Now, if I was to tick this one off, it would show a 2 because I would have done 2. Now I'm going to add another roll up for total. We're going to go do pretty much the same thing. We're going to use the tasks. We're going to go done. We're going to go, oh, no, we're not. Because we want total, don't we? So we want name, and then we want count all. So now it's got 5. So now I know I've done 1 out of 5. And again, I don't want to have to calculate that. So there's different ways you could make a progress bar. You could make a really big fancy one. You could make a traffic light system. There's numerous different ways you could do it, but it's a formula. It is basically a formula that you're going to work on progress. And I'm going to do a very, very simple, just I've done it, I haven't done it, I'm working on it formula. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do does done, oh, yeah, where's done? So I'm going to ask, does done equal total? If done equals total, then it means I'm finished because I've done all of the tasks that there are. So I'm going to ask that as a question. Now, if that is true, I want to put a check. If that is not true, then I want it to do something else. So I want it to ask something else. So I'm just going to put no there for the moment. So you can see it's got no because there are other tasks that I need to do. But if it says 5 out of 5, it's going to say a tick. So if I go to another project, I think I've done all of the tasks in Notion. There aren't any tasks associated with Notion, apparently. Oh, that's because there's no project in there. Let's go to the... Do I have another project? I have an assignment, don't I? I have an assignment project. This is where the dashboards come in handy because I've just gone to the projects dashboard. So we've got the assignment. The assignment must have projects. There we go. So apparently I haven't done all of the assignments in this one either. Let's have a look at the tasks. So filter for... let's just go into here and go properties. Done. And now I'm going to just get rid of these just to show the example in the other space. Dump all of those. So if I tick off all of these tasks to prove that the formula works. Wow. Oh yeah, because these are... This is where I added all of the tasks, right? Oh, that's every single task in every single database. Bug, I didn't want to do that. Never mind. But you can see the formula works. It's 16. Yeah, so you can see the formula works. That's all of the tasks in every single database, right? Let's come back to this. So you can see now it's going to tick when done equals... There you go, it's ticked because I've unintentionally clicked all these tasks. Let's go on to these tasks and uncheck them very quickly. I haven't actually done them. Come to here. I wish you could do this from this view. That'd be quite nice, especially when you start making mistakes like this. Come to here, go to there. Done. Back. To here. For those of you that are curious about the shortcuts I'm using, it's Control and then the square bracket. So I'm jumping back. So now we've got 1 out of 5. Right. I probably should have done that in the first place. So now it says no. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to ask it another question. There should be a bracket start. Yeah, there is a bracket start. Good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this just because it's easier. Copy, Control C, and then paste it in. Unexpected operator. Unexpected operator, excuse me. It's going to be finicky. Right. Right, here we go. This is where nested formulas start to irritate me. It's all syntax focused. Syntax focused. Right, so we've got a yes, we've got a no. Oh, it's because I haven't got a second no, isn't it? Paste. Unexpected item in the operator. Very true. Very true. Right. Oh, why are you being finicky, Notion? Don't do this to me while I'm... this is easy. This should be easy. See, even people that use Notion formulas all the time get things messed up. So we've got that. If that, fine. If not, no. So why weren't you working? Okay, you know what? Let's just do this manually and write this out. So we've got no in the... We want to ask another question. So that one goes in there, and we're going to ask, does, where is it? So we want to ask if done is smaller than total. Now I'm just going to very quickly do a quick check. Oh, yes, no. It hasn't nested it. Has it nested it? No, I don't think it has. Here's me working out formulas on the fly. So if they're cool, if not, you know what? Does the other project say I'm done? Those watching on the replay, I'll just be like, yeah, just pretend. You know what? Let's make this big. troubleshooting as we go. Troubleshooting as we go. Properties. Let's have a look at the progress. So it is working. So all of those are working. That's good. I was going to show that anyway, so that makes sense. Cool. Right. So, oh, of course it is. So I actually did it right. I was just getting confused. So that's yes. So is that smaller than that? Yes. So that means that we are working. I can't believe that. I confused myself and I've done it right. Orange. And then this one is cross. There we go. So here we go. I'll now explain it. So if done equals total, so if we've completed all of the tasks, it's going to show a green tick. If done is smaller than total, so if we still have tasks left, it's going to be orange. And then if neither of those things are true, it's going to show a red cross, which basically means we've done nothing because it will show 0. So if I go into this relation, I come into here. I imagine people have probably just like skipped, like left the stream and gone, he doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah, so now you can see it's 0 out of 5. Oh, why are you showing that? Come on, Notion. So, oh, it's because if it's smaller than, and that's true. So what I want to do is I'm going to have to add another check in there. So we go, copy that, paste in there. So if that's, so if done equals 0, and this is why we check things. Undo that. What did I get rid of that I shouldn't have got rid of? Oh, the question mark. Right, if done equals 0, why are you not liking it now? Parentheses expected. There we go. So I want that one to be a cross, and that one to be error. There we go. That's because that one's first. So here we go again. Something else to note, because this one is true first, it's actually ignoring this one. So I actually have to reorder this. I actually have to reorder this. So let's go and how am I going to do this? Let's just go equals 0, and then is smaller than total. Dump that out the way. It's gone and added in a ghost thing. You know what? I'm going to leave this before I get stressed. I'm going to leave this before I get stressed. I will come back to that later. But yeah, so essentially you can use the formulas to work that out, because I'm going to get to the other stuff. Okay. I wish formulas were simple sometimes. I wish formulas. See, just goes to show, even though I do formula videos, it gets frustrating sometimes. So pretend I got that right. Pretend I did that right. If you want me to go through that formula, I will go through it. But I'm going to go back to the dashboard and do stuff that's easy, which is relations and rollups. Right. So we've got this filter for areas. And I'm going to attach this to anything. Let's attach this to biology. Go into there. Come on, Notion, speed up. I'm like, in my head, I'm like ahead of time. There we go. Then we go into biology. Have we got any questions in the form? No, we haven't got any questions in the form. Cool. So that is a note question there. All good. Right, so there's that, What else did I want to do? There's loads of other things in my space. Right, so I've got my tasks, that's sorted. I got my projects, that's sorted. Notes in there, that's fine. Actually, is that the majority of my space done? I'm going to have to think about this. No, it can't be. Surely not. I might actually have to go back to my space and cheat here. I might have to go back to my space and cheat here. There must be something else. So I've got the tasks, that's done. All of the notes, when they're clipped in, that goes to my notes. Ah, there we go. That's the other one, the pants, the space repetition. Right, so in here, I will have different templates for different things. So when I'm creating, what happened there? Edit in here. So when I make a note, the note will come in default. That will be either the clipped note, the article, or anything like that. And I have templates for relating it to specific areas. Notes review, yes. So the notes review and like building notes. Cool. Yeah. So with the notes, each note has a specific purpose. So if I'm making a note in a lecture, which there we go, notes in a lecture. I'm gonna have a drink sec. Let's create the link database. I'm going to link this to the task database. And we're going to task should be there, shouldn't it? Area. Am I losing my mind? Oh, we're in the notes database, aren't we? Yes. So we want to relate notes and tasks. There we go. Let's do that now. Like, I'm talking as if I know what I'm doing, but I'm literally making this up as I'm going, trying to remember what I have in my space. So we're relating this to tasks. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use the self-referencing filter again. Properties. It's not what I wanted at all. Let's make this a big page because we want this. Full view. Go into here, and then we're going to use, actually, I'm going to turn this into a list review first so I don't have to redo that filter because that's not fun. Come to here, go there, delete that, into here, filter, and we go into notes, contains, have I not titled this note? No, I haven't. This is notes template. Right, and the reason I've done this is because when I clip something in, create a note or anything like that, I don't want the note just to sit there and do nothing. I want there to be a purpose to the note. So a task is an actionable thing. It's something that's going to pop up on my action database and I'm going to do something about it. I did type in there, didn't I? So what this allows me to do is when I'm going through the note, going like surfing through the note, I can make a task from it. And the task is going to be related to the note. So that is that. In here, this is related to the note. I think that's all I need in here. We'll probably find out that I need a couple more relations later on. So now when I come into here and I've made that new note, it's going to appear and it's already going to have filtered for the note, so it's there. So imagine this is a lecture or anything like that, and you have stuff, information, notes. I realize I'm typing in Notion's not going to like me for it. There we go. So as you're taking notes in your page, you could make two columns. That's how I do it. And if you have a task or an action that you want to do, so during a lecture you realize, oh, I need to research that thing, or that would be a good idea for my essay or anything like that, you can just either hold the Alt key, click, drag, and then drop in there. Doop. So what I've done is I've duplicated this into here. So it's still in my note. It's still in my notes page. It's still in my resources, so my lecture notes, but it's now a task. And there you go. That's something I already forgotten to filter to add a date onto it. So I'm going to have to do that. But what this means is during the lecture, you can make tasks for what you need to do in future. Whether you put a date on it, whether you don't, it doesn't really matter. It's obviously up to you and up to your workflow, but it means you don't have to go outside of the lecture note that you're taking to make anything. So I'm actually going to, come to here, edit the filter. And actually, while we're here, I'm also going to add something else, which I know I have. So we're going to add into here, add date is today. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to relate the notes database to itself. And the reason I do this is mainly to limit the amount of databases I have. So there are different types of notes. If I clip something, it's going to be a very quick, superficial note, such as like a tweet or a quote or something like that. It's going to be really, really quick. So it might just go into like my blogging space. So I'll tag it in the, like with the area. I'll tag it there and say, go to my blog space. And then because of the filtered view in that space, it will go there. Oh, excuse me. But if it's a longer, for example, lecture, I'm going to have loads and loads of stuff in it. So I might make notes on my note, which means I now need to relate the notes database to itself. So I think it was Turing said this earlier, like database inception. This really is like madness. We're going to use this one so we can go backwards and forwards between the two, because I don't really know much of a use for anything else like for the other one, just like a one-way link, because there's no backlink for it. So this is notes, and we're going to go to, we're going to go notes from. You're getting a lot better. Getting a lot better than what? Speaking in live, working out what I'm doing, remembering what I'm doing. Right, yeah. So we've got notes to and notes from, and now what we're going to do is we're going to have a, there we go, linked database to the notes database. And the reason we're going to have a linked database to the note database inside the notes page is so that we can do the same thing we did with the tasks. We can notes. There we go. We can tag a note with a note. So what this is doing is this is allowing me to create all those backlinks. So Notion have brought out backlinks and it's sort of working, but for me, using relations still works better. I'm doing videos explaining a different workflow with the new backlinks and how everything works. But this is the way that I've been using for a long time, backlinks for a long time, right? And we're going to get rid of the table view. Let's delete that. And we're going to come into here. We're now going to do the exact same thing. We're still going to add another filter, add filter, name, and we're going to go notes to. Actually, I think in my space, I might actually only have notes. Yeah, I think it is just notes, because then it's just the one relation, because then it makes more sense, because I take back what I said. Because I don't want that. I'm looking through in my head. I don't want that. I want one way, because I want to be able to go back to the notes. So let's do that very quickly again. And I am going to go one way, because otherwise you'd get, yeah. Making it on the fly. Yeah, so I only want the one, because everything else is the two-way. That's the one that was the one way. There we go. Ugh. Sorry about that, guys. Right, so we're going to add name, notes. Then we got the self-referencing filter, note template. Now it makes sense. Now it's so much easier. So now we have tasks and now we have notes. So now I can link the notes to themselves. And what I'm actually going to do is create columns now. So I don't have to do it later, because I imagine I'll probably end up doing it later. This isn't going to be a wide page, is it? Oh, it is. It is. My bad. My bad. I got it wrong. Go into there. Go into there. Go into there. That's not what I wanted. Oh, I'm so used to doing it. I'm so used to building the same stuff. Really technical term there, stuff. There we go. So I'm going to type in this column. So this is where all my notes will go. Let's not do it in there, because that's a template. There we go. So say this is a new note. I'm going to have the old template in here, aren't I? Yes. So let's dump all of that. New note. It's loading. It's thinking about it. There we go. Information quote. Let's just go past. So all your information, all your notes and everything like that. This is something that you've gone, okay, I need to action that. I need to do that. That's something I should do. What I was doing was I was dragging that and dropping that into here. So I was doing that Alt, click, drag and drop into here. And then if it was a quote that I wanted, or if it was a note that I wanted, what I would do, same thing as I click and drag and drop into here. Boop. So now I have play note. Oh, did I not filter the thingy? I don't think I filtered the notes database. So again, I'm going to go into the self-referencing filters and go filter that. Oh, I did. No, I did. Why are you not showing? Okay. I don't understand why that's not showing. That should be showing. Anyone in chat that understands why that's not showing, let me know. But that should be showing because it's linked right there. Play note, and then it's going to go there. Yeah, so that should be working. Don't understand why that's not working, but yes. That works in my space. So we made that new note, the new information note, and it's showing up here. And the reason it's showing up here is because it's not related to an area. So all of the new notes that you make in that lecture page that will go all the way down, they will all appear on your dashboard. So again, I'm coming back to my dashboard to sort through everything. So you can have it automatically relate to an area, so the notes show up in the area. But for me, when I was taking notes in a lecture, I had them show up here so that I could go through the note after the lecture and be like, okay, yeah, this is what I need to do. This is what I'm going to do because of it, and that sort of thing. So let's go. Oh, my TV is going to shut off on the other screen. Notes database. That's definitely filtered for it. Yes, it is. Let's create another dummy note to make sure that that's working. So, for example, if this was a note that I wanted to put in my database, I could click, drag, drop. Boom. There we go. We have a new note. We have another note. Use the template. Note. Please work. It's going to be a really bad example if it doesn't work. It's related to the section. In my space, it works. In this space, apparently it doesn't. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. I guess maybe it's got to go two ways, but that doesn't make sense because that relates back to here. Oh. No, because that would be the from. No, so it is. Oh. Yes. Okay. This is me getting confused because I don't need to go to all those notes because it's there. Idiot. Wow. Okay. Let me explain this. So the reason I had it as two ways is because I wanted to show up here. But so this is something I recently changed to have it as a one. I don't need the backlink because it's here. So this is the backlink. So it's not showing here because it's there. So this is essentially a subnote of a big note. So this is a resource, this is a lecture, and all of the subnotes are here in this database. So I don't need to see it up here because then I would see it twice. That's how I got rid of the two. There we go, it makes sense. Yeah, because I did have it as two and then I removed it and then had it as one. Yeah, so I have all of the subnotes here. So if I was to go into this lecture, I could see all the subnotes here and I wouldn't have to see them here. But if we go into the subnote, you can then see the top note. So it works up. Right, there we go. Cool. Hopefully that makes sense to you. If not, let me know in chat because I got confused with that. So but yes, so we now have subnotes of notes inside here. And the same principle applies because this is now essentially this is a subnote in a resource, a subnote in a lecture. I can come into here Boom. I can use the note template again. Subnote again. So I'm making a note on a note. Let's hold the Alt key so it doesn't get rid of it. There we go. So same principle. Go into here. So now we've got subnote. So if I was to go into this subnote, I can go into the note that I got it from. And then I can see that note and all of those pieces of information. Yes, it's clear now. Good, Henry. Glad that made sense. Wow, explanations. How do you review this subnotes? So I will get there in a second. This should have been so much quicker. I will get there in a second. So we've got the subnotes there. We're in the note, and then we can go to the notes, and then we go to the notes, and then we can go all the way up to the top resource. Now, what I'm now going to do is, if we come back to here, you can see these are all the notes that we've made, because these are all the notes in the notes database. And so I can see I need to sort through all of these things. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to create my resources area. So this is an area because there's no end date, there's no due date, there's no finish date. It's just resources. So this is for me. This is how I categorize all like the top level information. But when I was at uni, so those students, time for me to call it a night. Hope you have a great week. That's all right, Torin. It will be available on replay. Wow, I've been going for a while. It will be available on the replay. But yeah, good to see you here. And if you have any questions, like before or after, just contact me on Twitter or anything like that. So resources, so for lectures, the top level lectures would be in the lecture space. So the biology, that would hold the resources. So I'm going to go into the resources. I'm going to open this up. Boom, 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 boom. New area template. Because we made the template earlier in the stream, and this is all sorted for me. Chugging along. There we go. So this notes view at the moment is empty because there's nothing associated with resources. So we go back to the home. Now, if which was the top note? Was it this one? Yeah, it looks like this was the top level note. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this note to resources, because this is my resources area. So I'm going to attach it to this area. I'm going to tag it. So now it's tagged. It's not going to show in my dashboard because I've processed the note. So you see, it's now disappeared. Now when I go into my resources area, there's the note. So it's still in my notes database, but it's showing in the view that I need it to be viewed in. And I can do the same thing with all of the other notes. So let's go through a lecture example. So we had a lecture planned out, didn't we? No, we didn't. Well, we did, but we must have got rid of it. Or we did it. So this lecture, you could substitute this for a meeting or anything that you've got to go and do, anything like that. Come on. There we go. Event. So this is going to show up in that calendar view on the dashboard and in the list view on the dashboard. So this is now a lecture. Boom, boom, boom. Go to the home view. Now what I would do is I would create a lecture template in the task database. So instead of having an event, it would be a lecture template in here. So I would come in here and I would add in here. Actually, let's do it while we're here. Let's just turn this into a lecture template because I don't typically use the event one. So let's go. Lecture, come on. Oh, wow. My laptop is old as well, guys. So lecture template. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the notes database. So the notes template we've just been messing around with, we've just been creating. I'm now going to essentially link that into here, which is there. And this is where, for those of you that have seen the whole stream, you'll see it all sort of like divvy down and sort of like work its way down. List, create. Ooh. Oh. Clicking too fast. I don't want to see that. Let's delete that. Delete that. And come into here. Filter, add, name. How do you get rid of these subnotes in main dashboard, a filter where notes is empty? So it works exactly the same. So the subnotes, as soon as there is an area attached to the subnotes, then they'll go. You can do that automatically when you're creating the notes in the lectures by having that as a filter. Or what I like to do is actually do it afterwards. So all the notes work exactly the same. The subnotes, the top notes, all the notes work the same. As soon as you add a tag, excuse me, as soon as you tag an area to it, it will disappear from the dashboard. What am I filtering for? I'm filtering for tasks. Contains lecture template. That is all I think I need in here. And just because I just don't like having errors, it's there. Right, so now we've got the lecture. So there's the lecture, it's showing. There's the lecture, it's showing. And what I would do is when the lecture comes up, I would come in here. I can then add lecture template. It's thinking about it. I can then add a note, and it's already related to the lecture. So if this lecture was lecture 1, lecture 1 of the year. Come on. There we go. Now we can add a notes template to that. So this is the template we were just working on. And you can see there's the task. So there's the lecture. And we've got our notes in here. So writing information. Now we're going to come into here, drag that down into there. Now we've got the note in there. That note is related to this note, which is related to the lecture. So everything is tagged on upwards. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. So now we've got lecture 1, we've got subnotes, we've got notes going all over the place. So it kind of looks messy, but when we come, was this related to biology? I believe it was. Fingers crossed it was. Yeah, it was. Good. So now when I come into biology, got the notes, because this is filtered for biology. We can go into the lecture. Again, you can make this automatic. If you want me to make it automatic, like now, I can do. Just let me know in the chat. So where's the lecture? The lecture is there. There's the lecture. So I can see all the lecture notes from here. And the reason I put it like that is because in the lecture, there may be other things like where I need to go, what I need to do, or any pre-planning, pre-reading, or anything like that. I would have that in that page as well. And then I'd have the actual notes from the lecture in my notes database, which is here. Then I have all of my notes from the lecture. This is just a normal page. It could be full of anything. And then I have all my notes from that, and that's already related. So I can go to all of those subnotes there. What I'm actually going to do is, because this, because this is related to notes here, if we change that filter, so this would be how to make it automatic. I didn't want to push new note. Go back, come to here. Let's attach that to biology. So I'm going to attach writing information. I'm going to remember that. Writing information, I'm attaching that to biology. Boom. So we've attached writing information as a note to biology. It's now showing in my note space for biology, and it's now not showing here because it's been attached to biology. And I'm going to attach this to biology as well, and you can see this is how it all disappears. So we're going to go add to biology. So this is the lecture 1 note, and it's gone from my dashboard. So I've processed it. Come to here, into biology, and there's the lecture 1 note. So this is where you can have all of your notes. How you choose to sort your notes is up to you. I personally don't want to see all of these together, and that is where I add another tag to it. So I add another area to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into lecture 1. And I'm going to, oops, wrong one, come to here. Add resources. So I personally, this is personal preference. I personally don't want to see my lecture 1 note here because I can get to it through here, and all of these sub notes that I will take are stored here, and I can filter, change the formatting and the rest of it down here. But I don't want to see this lecture 1 note here, just out of my personal preference. So I'm going to change the filter and say area does not contain resources. So it means only the smaller notes that are related to biology are going to show here. Hopefully that makes sense. And the same thing works with events and meetings and all of those sort of notes as well. Right, so I think that's those notes. Let's come back to here. Let's have a quick look. What is this? This is a note for, this is a notes template. What is this going to filter for? Edit. It's not automatically relating. So if we say we're going to make a resource note, so I'm going to add a template. So this is going to be resource template. And this is the way that I sort my notes very, very quickly. It's because I use the templates in the note database to add an area tag to them. So when I bring things in from the Clipper, it doesn't have an area. So is it possible to use Notion Web Clipper and send clipped web pages to specific Notion template? Thanks. That's kind of what I'm going over now. So when you clip from Notion, it'll only clip to a database and everything is empty. It just doesn't give you anything other than obviously the content of the clipped page. Come on, Notion, wake up. There we go, resource template. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add resources in here. So now I've made the same spelling mistake. Now I have a resource template that all it's going to do is going to add the area tag onto it. I can add more stuff later on. So when I clip something in, whatever it is, I've clipped it in. Clipped. There we go. So I've clipped this in. So this could be a YouTube video and you'll have the content down here and the rest of it. I will cut the content, come into here, push resources template. Now it's already added that tag, so I can come out and it's already gone and it's in my resources space, which is there. So you can see it's clipped and it's already, apparently note section is also in here. So that's how I go through those. So it makes it very, very quick to sort through notes and just dump them straight where I need them to go. And I have different templates for different notes. Oh, I've got, my notes templates is all over the place. This building is so sporadic. And to get a full, clear understanding of my system, obviously watch the series in my on the channel when they come out. But yes, so I will have different templates in here for tagging different things. So this one is resources specific. So whenever I add anything, and add the resources tag, it won't show in my dashboard. It will go straight to the area. And so that's that. That's that. Let's just go into here and dump all of those into resources. Cool. So now we've got our notes empty. We've got the notes template done. We've got lectures. That's sorted. That's sorted. That's good in there. I don't even remember what this went to. This one went to Notion. Okay, cool. Marie's video is there. So that's that. That's that. Notes review is the next bit, wasn't it? So it's the subnotes. So when I'm processing through the notes, this is where all of those tasks and projects templates that I did beforehand come in handy. So let's go to a place that I have a lot of notes. I've just dumped a load of notes in resources. So that will be where that will be useful. So let's go to resources, open up resources. And this is where tagging the information, tagging the note to an area helps me process everything. So I have all of these notes that are related to resources. These notes could be anything. This is a clipped note. Don't know what it's for. And what I will do is I will plan something out. So if this is a tweet, I will plan something like, what am I going to do with this note? What is the point of me having it here? Am I going to use it with an essay? Am I going to use it for revision? Am I going to make a flashcard out of it? Am I going to make a product out of this? Like what am I going to do with this note, with this subnote or anything like that? If it's actionable, what I'll typically do is, let's actually add the notes template to that. If it's actionable, what I'll do is I'll just add the task in here. So say for this subnote, I want to, I'm going to review biology. That is going to be the task. Like I don't know, during the lecture, I realized I don't know this thing. I need to review biology. Yeah, whatever that was. And it was a note to myself. I know I need to do this thing. It's a really dodgy example. Oh, come on, Notion, wake up. I'm not even doing that much. There we go. And what that means is if we go back to my dashboard, I've made that note. There it is, all on my dashboard. So I've made the note inside of a note, which is in a note, which is in a lecture, which is a note inside a page in my database. But it's essentially, I just made a task and it showed up where I need it to show up. Right, let's go back to where I was. And I don't remember where I was in my space. So let's just use the back key. Yeah. So that's how I'd make the task. And then if I'm making a flashcard, same process. I would go into here, make the flashcards. I don't think I'm going to make the flashcards database now because I've almost been streaming for 3 hours. Do you want to see the flashcards database? Obviously, the space repetition one is there. It allows different templates for each clip. Yes, exactly that, Mike. If you want to see me create the space repetition flashcards database, let me know in chat. If not, like if you're watching on the replay, I have a video explaining how I make that, and I probably won't make as many errors. I haven't made as many errors in that. Yes, so whenever I allow different templates, yeah, so the notes database can have as many templates as you want. And what I'll do is, because what you're doing is you're creating a template that is basically a tag. So I can come in here, I can add another one. What's another area that I've got? I've already done biology. I think I've already done biology, but hey, never mind. Biology template. Notion, you're really not showing people how fast and efficient you are. But then it might be my computer as well. Oh dear, where did the K come from? Yeah, so now we've got a biology template in here. So now when I add so when I clip something in, I'm going to clip it to my notes database, and then clip. I might just stop typing. There we go. And now I can add biology template. Now you've got the biology tag on it. And now it's not showing in the notes. Now when I go to biology, which is the nose, there's the note. And when I come into biology, so when this review box is ticked from the areas, so for those of you that have just joined on the replay or anything like that, this is a tick box for reviewing the area. When I review the area for learning, adapting, or anything like that, I can then, I'm running into the slow speed lately on all different platforms also. I know they're currently like building stuff as well in the background. Obviously the backlinks is something, and then the backlinks have caused some other things going on. So it's, yeah, they're changing a lot in the background, and my computer's doing a lot, but normally it's fine. Normally it's fine, but I think it's because I'm doing a lot in my computer that it's sort of like exasperating the speed. But yeah. Yeah, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, so when this review box is ticked, I'll come down, and then because it's always reviewing, no matter how many things I've clipped and I've tagged, if I've tagged it, it will come up in this database. And if it's there, I know either I need to do something with it. Yes, let's go for the flashcards database. Okay, Henry, I will make the flashcards database. And the formula is going to be great fun. But yeah, so now I've got this note, and we've got, yeah, so I've got this note, and then when I come in for the review, I can then decide what I'm going to do with that, whether I'm going to research that, which means I would go in, add a task, and then research that, or I'm going to archive that and add it to resources, so it's archived. So when I review my resources area, I can see it. Or I could turn it into a project. So I'm going to quickly show you how this would work. So if I come into here, hold the Alt key again, drag it out here and drop it. Boom. I have a whole other workspace for this, like a whole other workflow for this, but I've just done this as an example. So now I have the clipped information, and I'm going to move it into projects. And I'm going to click on the projects on this that I've just made. New biology essay apparently is the only project template we've got. So I've taken a note, I've made it into nothing essentially, and now I'm turning it into a project. So if in the business world, if you're in the business world, if that was a note from a meeting, so you've had a meeting, which is a task, and you take a notes in the meeting, and you realize, oh, okay, in this meeting, they want me to build this, they want me to do this, they want me to do that. That then becomes a note. That note then turns into a project. In the projects template, you can then make the project. You can then add all the default tasks if you do the project repeatedly. And then when you come out of that, wow, that's a really bad project due date. Let's add a project that the due date's already gone. And then we go into the task database, and now you can see these are all of the tasks, the preset tasks related to the project, and they will all show up on today's task list. And something else that I've also remembered that I like to use is, how is that still not renamed? Something else I also like to do is add a roll-up, add properties, text, due date. So I'm in the task database, and I'm going to roll up the due date of the project in the task database. So I'm going to use the projects relation, and I'm going to use the date, and that's all I want to see. There we go. There's the due date. Right. So what we've done is I've had a meeting. I've taken a note in the meeting. I've turned the note into a project. I've made the project tasks, and all of that has basically led to my dashboard showing the tasks that I need to do, the project they're related to, and when I come into here, so I'm clicked on the task, I can now see I need to do this task today. The due date is the 12th, so I have 6 days left to do it. This is the project, so I can go there if I need to. This is the area, so I can go there if I need to. There is no note related to this task, so that's all good. And then when I click off and say, oh, I've done that, and I've done that, and I've done that, we can go into tasks. So this is the dashboard that we made earlier. And I obviously clicked on the wrong one. I didn't change that link either, never mind. Let's go on the tick box because this is the task link. I can go on the task. Wow, there's loads of tasks that I just, yeah. So these are all the tasks that I've ticked off and said I've done. So you can see these are the most recent ones. This is a task for tomorrow. So you can see that this is telling me that's something you need to do for tomorrow. I didn't realize that, but then I'm not really paying attention to what I'm adding in. And these are all the tasks that I've done. So if I properties, done, there we go. You can see these are all tasks have been done. Let's say I haven't done that. Back to my dashboard. There it is again. So you can play around and tick them off if you wanted to. There's the lecture, there's that, and we are going to make the flashcards database. And again, we're going to go to review. And we're going to go space. Now, for me, this is the only dashboard, this is the only database that I haven't found a second use for. But thinking about it, going back, if I was to go back as a student now, it would be really, really useful. So I am going to do it. We're going to go notes. We'll go flashcards because this has been requested from Henry. And while we wait for Notion to work out what I've typed, flashcards, I use flashcards with spaced repetition, active recall, and I add flashcards to quotes, add flashcards to anything I want to remember. I really don't care that it's spelt wrong. Anything I want to remember, and essentially anything I want to remember, anything I want to learn that isn't a note. So it's not something that I'm going to action. And I will link my flashcards database in my notes database, or I do link my flashcards database in my notes database as well. So we are going to, oh, I don't want to create that. I want to do that. We're going to create the flashcards database. Oh, this is going to be serious because this is a big old build, this one. This was great fun building this to start with. Let you in on the secret that I have changed this so many times. Oops. Flashcards. There we go. Flashcards. Every page in this database is going to be a flashcard. So it's the exact same principle as all the other databases going on. For this one, we want a single select. I'm going to have to remember how I made this. So we've got stage. We've got last wrong. Oh, that was meant to be a date. So we've got stage. Oh, yeah. Let's turn this into a multi-select and do this quicker. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, come on. Oh, it's just going to dump it all together. Chugging along, Notion. Oh. Can't type too quickly. My typing speed is only like 70. 4. 5. Yeah, let's just stick with 5 so I don't have to take too long. Last wrong. And then we want formula. And this is going to be review. Hopefully this formula goes better than the progress bar formula. If you wanted to know any of the progress bars I use, I have free templates that are downloadable. So go look at those because they work. Right, so what I want to do is look at, I want to add, so I want to go this one, last wrong. So stage equals 1, oops, got to be there. If stage equals 1, and what I want it to do, question mark, is I want to go, can you say an example where you do flashcards from notes? An example of flashcards from notes. So reading para, for example, I read the para blog, like Thiago's blog, his blog post. So I clipped the blog post to my notes database. then that became a resource note. I then made smaller notes in that. So the project section became a smaller note. The area section became a smaller note. Resources, smaller note. Archives, smaller note. Then inside those smaller notes, I actually made flashcards on each of those points. So, well, I can't remember what the flashcards are now, but it was like an example. What is projects in the paras space? And the flashcard was related to the note. So the question, I'm typing this, but the question in the name would be, what does projects mean in para? Then inside the page would be the answer of what the projects mean in para, and it would be related to the note. So if I didn't know the answer, I couldn't think of the answer, then I would go through the relation, go back to the note, which would be the subnote of the article. And if I still wanted more, I could then go to the relation to the higher note, which was the whole article. So I could go all the way back so I've got like this one flashcard going all the way back to the full article. So that's one example of how I'd make a note. Make a flashcard from a note. Hopefully that helps. Let me know if you want me to expand any further on that. So we've got stage equals 1. If that is true, then I want to go last wrong, and we want to add a date. So we want to go add. We want to go, how many days do we want to add? 1 days. And if not, put last wrong. That makes sense. September 6th. Yep. Okay, right. Let's turn this back into a select property. Right, so now we've got stage 1. So because it's stage 1, it's going to, because it's stage 1, it's going to add 1 date to this. If it's stage 2, we haven't set up stage 2 yet. But if it's stage 2, it's going to show last wrong. Thanks, that was helpful. Good, glad that was helpful. Yeah, so here we go again. Here we go. Let's try and add a nested. So that's that. So what I'm going to do is I want to copy all of that, paste it in there. That's yes. If not, do that. If not, do that. Why are you not liking this? Sometimes I get this right straight away. Other times it just completely flops. Right, so we've got stage 1 equals that. Is that? Okay, cool. If not, let's do it this way. If not, it is that. No, each branch condition should be the same. Would you? Oh, because it's the date. Last wrong. There we go. I thought that's what I had. Obviously not. So now if it's stage 2, we want to add, and this is where you can change up the frequency as much as you want. So if I get it, if I'm stage 1, it's going to add 1 day. If it's stage 2, I want to add, let's say, 3 days, which what it's going to do is it's going to add 3 days to the last wrong. So we go done. Let's change this to a 1. So we have a couple of examples. Oh, what am I doing? Get rid of that. Copy, paste those down. Change that to a 2. So you can see this is 6th. So this is when I last got it wrong. Today is the 6th. So this would start off at stage 0. So I've got, basically this is a new card. Start 0. This is going to show. Then I go into the card. So, oops. I'm just going to put a Q because it's only 1 letter. It's easier for Notion to handle. Good. Open. Coming to here and go A. So I look at the card. There's the question. Look at the answer. Yes, I got it right. I'm going to move it up a stage. If I get it wrong, I'm going to choose last wrong, and then put the date in. So now it's 1. The review date is going to show 7. Now, if, for example, this card is this card, so imagine these are the same cards, but in the future. So now it's tomorrow. So now it's the 7th of September, and the date wrong is still the 6th. So it's added 1 date, 7th of September. I now need to add 2 days, because if we go in here, so we imagine that this was that first card. So that's the question, that's the answer, and it's being shown. If we go to stage 2, if that was only 2, it would then show tomorrow, because it's only going to add 2 days. So we need to make it 3, because you need to go 1, add whatever the difference is. Hopefully that made sense. Oh, go away. That's my eye drops. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. So you can see there's a 2 difference, 7th and 9th. So there's a 2 difference, even though there's 3 added in the formula. And it'll be the same for when we go to 3. So when we add 3, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, so at the moment we've got a 1 difference, then a 2 difference. Now I want a 3 difference. So what I need to do is I need to look at here and go, we've got 3. And what I want to do is I want to add 3 to that. So I'm going to go 3, add 3 is 6. So let's see if I can copy, let's see if I can copy the right bit. So I want to copy, yeah, it was that bit, wasn't it? Copy that bit, paste that in there. Apparently it wasn't. Oh, because I need to copy the question as well, don't I? Copy that, paste that. There we go. See, I do know what I'm doing with formulas. 3. And then this is where we're going to go 3, add 3 makes 6. Which is there. And now we've got 12. So you can see as the stage goes up, the review date goes forwards. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to filter this. Add filter, name, review is on or before today. Cool. Right, so now there are no flashcards that are due today, so I don't need to review anything. That's all good. Let's add a new flashcard so we can actually see something. Oh, I've been sitting down for a while. Yeah, so this is a new flashcard. Yeah, whatever. I put 1, but hey. 1A. Last wrong is today. So I'm going to add last wrong as today, because this is when I added the card. And you can see now, because the review is today, it's being shown. Now you can view this in different ways. I view this in a gallery view. So I'm actually going to come into here. I'm not going to go there at all. Oh, my brain is turning into mush. How long have I been streaming? Over 3 hours. Whoa, okay. Yeah, so I come into here, and now I go into here. There we go. I'm ahead of myself. I come into here, properties. Now I'm going to go none. So now all it's going to do is it's going to show me the questions. So I can see these are the questions, and it's not filtering because it's got rid of the filter because it's a different view. Add filter. Name. Oops. Wrong property. Review is on or before today. So now we have this flashcard. So I will come into here and go, oh, okay, I have 1 flashcard due. I will click on the flashcard. Yes, I got it right. Whoop, whoop. I knew it was A because I just made the flashcard. I move it to 1. So I'm now stage 1, and it has now disappeared. I have no more flashcards for today. When it turns up tomorrow, so imagine we are the next day, that 1 question will appear there. Right. Now we have the flashcards database built. I might as well show you how it integrates into the notes space as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into notes, and I'm going to adapt the notes template. You can adapt the rest of them. I'm going to adapt all of them right now. And then next week, if no one comes, oh, I've got a question in the forum. Might come to. I'll answer that question in a second. I'm going to quickly do this before I forget. If anyone's interested to see my actual like space walk through, like all the way through, because it's been a while since I've done that. Let me know. There's no one at the moment scheduled to come on next week. So if anyone does want to come on and share anything, there's a link in the description. Hopefully that's the right one. Oh, otherwise it's going to bring up my flashcards database. Yeah, it is. Yeah, if anyone wants to come on, then they can. But if they want to see around my space rather than me building my space, let me know in chat, and I'll do a Notion tour of my space, which I haven't done in a while actually. So might actually be a good idea. I might get some people to come on. You can duplicate the first view and then change it to the gallery after, so you don't have to change the first skin. Yes, you can. You can, and I've done that. I did that earlier in the stream, and yeah. Yes, you are right. I could have done that. There's nothing really else to say. Did I just remove the view that no, I didn't. Good. Now I'm going to have to make this big so I can add the filters. Actually, there's a point. I couldn't duplicate that view of the database because it was the original view. So if you duplicate the original database, it does copy of flashcards. You'd have to duplicate the created filtered view of it, but I understand what you were saying. I got where you were going. Yeah, that was just me not doing it right. And we're going to add the same filter, add filter into here. This is because flashcards isn't related to anything yet. Here we go again. So what we're going to do is we're going to come into here. This is literally the main reason I have relations. It's just so I can use self-referential filters. Notes, add into there, come into here, notes, create relation. Let's try again. There we go. There we go. I'm going to filter for notes contains notes template. And I actually have a project like linked view in my notes template as well, which you'll obviously see if there's a thing going around or anything like that. Right, let's answer this question before I forget the questions there. Danny, here is the community developed save to Notion web clipper for Chrome that you can have clips sent to different databases with different fields populated. Okay, I'll have a look at that link later on. I did not realize you could pre-populate things in there. I don't know how that would affect my workflow, but I'll have a look at that. Definitely, Mike. I'll look at that link after stream. But yeah, I mean, if you can pre-populate the area relation, then you don't even have to do the processing. I personally like the processing, but if that speeds up my workflow, then definitely going to have a look at it. Right. So we've now got the links to the flashcards. So let's do a full walkthrough of what we've got so far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an event. Let's call this a meeting. And you can see the event tag is already in there because of the filtered view of this database. I'm going to try and avoid typing. I keep saying I'm going to try and avoid typing. There we go, meeting. Let's come out of there. Right, so we've got the meeting here. And the meeting's not showing up there because it's not here. So when it is the 11th, the meeting will show up in the list view. Go into meeting. I'm going to use the lecture template because I don't have any other template, but I would have a meeting template, or I do have a meeting template. Now it's going to link to notes. So I can make notes on the meeting. I don't know, meeting with Mike, because Mike's up there. There's 4 letters. It's 4 letters. There we go. And now I can choose down here what sort of note it is. So I'm going to call it a resource note because this is going to be a high-level note. Did I want that one? I don't think I wanted that template. Which is the template that has everything in it? Is that the notes one? My resources template is the one that has everything in it. It's the notes one, isn't it? Yes, it's the note one. So I've done that, so I'm actually going to get rid of that relation now. Great run through. So now when I'm taking notes in my meeting, I can keep the notes here. So it's still in. That worked fine. Yeah, so I can have on the notes. So if I need to transcribe it, or if I have a PA transcribing any meetings, the meeting is there because this is the higher up task. So we can go straight into the meeting, and these are all the notes. Then if we have subnotes from that, so things that we need to think about, things that we need to action, things that we need to do. So this could be a subnote. So as an example, if this is a meeting and this reminded. No, because that would be a task. So if there is something that reminded you, oh, I need to do that thing, we'll put it into there, and there you go. There's the task that's related to the note. There we go. There's the relation, and then we've got the note. The note isn't showing because it's in here. Oh, we've got the flashcards in there, and then we've got the notes in there. So a subnote of a meeting. Who thinks of a subnote in a meeting? Does anyone have subnotes in a meeting? Let me think. Do I have any subnotes that happen in a meeting? Most of my subnotes are from resources. So we got what subnotes would you need for a meeting? I don't think you would, but I'm going to pretend. I'm going to have a subnote from a meeting, and that would be here. And that's. I don't think that's filtered for anything at the moment. It's filtered for Mike. It's filtered for Mike. So Mike has a subnote. And then we've got tasks, and then we've got flashcards. And this is where the flashcard database, what we've just made, comes in handy. Actually, this could be something that some of you advanced users may not know. Let's go. Question, answer. If you tab this across, there we go. So now we have answer as a text block inside of question. So we come in here. You see question. So what I've done is I've nested the text block inside the other text block. When I drag this into a database, the question becomes the name of the page, and the answer becomes the content of the page. And this is how I make my flashcards. So I'll write the question, I'll have the answer, and then I'll drag it across and drop it in. And now there's the question. And there's the answer. Now I'm going to add the date wrong. Normally in my templates, I have all of this set up for me, but I haven't done that in this build. Yep, so now let's go back one. I think that was pretty cool when I worked that one out. But yeah, so now we've got a subnote of a note, which is notes for a meeting, which is a task. We have a task from the note, which is a note in a meeting, which is a task. And then we've got questions, flashcards. You can... That is the majority of the structure of my space with notes here, actionable notes. So you can see we've got Mike's note, which we need to sort through, which I'm going to come to here, and I'm actually going to make it into a resource. Let's just make it into a resource note, just so it's out of my space. Boom, 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 boom. There we go, and then it's gone. So that's how I sort through notes. So you clip it into the space, and then disappears and goes. Tasks, they all appear here, and I can tick them off when I'm done with them. I have the roll up to the project here, so I can see what project the task is related to. I haven't actually done this bit. I also sort my projects, my tasks for the project. So you know that roll up that we did earlier of the due date. Descending. So what this has now done is it's sorted my tasks in order of project. So if the assignment is due tomorrow, all the tasks due with that assignment will be at the top of the list. If there's an assignment due in like a month's time, oh, that hurt. Assignment due in like a month's time, all the tasks will be at the bottom of the list because the project is due earlier. And then we've got our tab bar up here. If we go into review, we have the review space of the areas, the notes, and then when we go into the flashcards, I will have the flashcards database linked up there, but I'm not going to do that now because I kind of want to go to bed. But then we've got the question. So that's the question that we've literally just made. I can go into here. There's the answer. There's the question. If I get it right, yay, I got it right. We'll go question stage 1. Now it's going to disappear from that flashcard view. We can go to the note if we need to. If we need to remember anything, I'm going to go back to the flashcard space. Bump, 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 bump. Bump, there we go, and the flashcards disappeared. So that I think covers most things. If you have any other questions and you want to follow up with any sort of like specific details or nuanced information or anything like that, send me a message on Twitter or anything like that. Next week, if you guys agree, I may do a tour of my space, so you'll see all of this in action in my space and more of like a practical use potentially of how I do it. But this is how you build the system that I've built. So yeah, hopefully you got something from it. Hopefully you learned something from it or got some ideas out of it. If you do want to show anything on stream, or if you want to come on, have a chat or talk to me about anything, let me know and just become a guest through the link, and then you can come on, have a chat. But until then, I will see you guys next week. Same time start, 7 p.m. BST. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you guys next week.